you're sitting there asking yourself, where do I draft Alvin Kamara now? Now that there are no felony charges, Alvin Kamara pleaded no contest to a mere breach of the peace misdemeanor, which is such a light charge. And the NFL is going to look at it from a very different perspective. And the optics, the video, the backlash, which we apparently don't seem to see anywhere. We're the only ones talking about it. We're the only ones going live. We went live at every stage of this process. When the first video came out, when the second video came out, when the limo footage came out. From the very beginning, nobody's talking about it. So the pressure on the league to do something is very minimal. And not to mention the team has said, we're not going to do anything. They said that. We're not doing anything until the league steps in. We're just going to step back and we're not going to take a hard stance on this at all. This is not anything we want to be involved in. Now that there's no felony charge, now that he's pleaded no contest to a simple, like small, minor misdemeanor of breach of peace, I think you can breach the peace by just walking outside your front door and screaming really loud. This is absolute injustice, but it is what it is. We play fantasy football. We're here to do it live, and we're here to discuss where do you draft Alvin Kamara with the information that you now have.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So we've touched on this already. There's an entire, hour plus live stream. I don't know if that was an hour or 2 hour live stream, but go check it out when this came in and we had to react to it on the fly. But this is a guy that we've been drafting. I know I have been drafting for months and months and months. Underdog draft after underdog draft. Promo code Smitty. We're drafting tonight, by the way. I can't wait to see where Alvin Kamara goes in our draft. I really can't wait to see what happens. But make sure you hit the link in the description of the video in every video I have. But also, I'm going to pin that link right now in the live chat. But if you want to draft with us tonight, you need to hit that link now. Sign up. Underdog will match up to $100 on your first deposit. Hit that link right now. Sign up. Get in there and get ready to go, because once you're signed up and you've got the app logged in, they've matched up to $100 in your first deposit. Your boy is going to essentially tell you when to jump into the live draft, and then we're all going to get in, and you won't have time to get in if you don't sign up. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to go in said draft tonight? I have no clue. But what I can tell you is where I would draft him right now, knowing what I know. I don't know what everybody else is going to do. But we talked about this a little earlier, if you look at a board and we say to ourselves, this guy, if he wasn't facing any sort of suspension whatsoever, appreciate everybody in the building, Lunchbox, first in the building, B-Men, Swaggy, Hector, Space Ricky, Lupo, OEG, Jaime, Melvin, Bella, check yourself, Zach, Overcome, DDG, Blackbeard, Golf, appreciate you all. I'm looking at the board here and I'm saying to myself, if we go back in time and let's say this all got resolved last season and he walked in fresh into 2023 without any sort of issue in front of him, no suspension, and we still don't know what the suspension could be. It could be 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. That's another part of this prediction and equation right here, is what does the league do to a misdemeanor no contest plea, not a guilty plea, a no contest plea, not admitting wrong or right necessarily, but no contest. I'll pay $100,000 in medical expenses. I'll do some community service, but no contest. Essentially, the NFL is going to look at that as not a form of necessarily guilt, but a form of we need to take action. That's for sure. Poodle 3 just now. Kamara went in the round 9. Ron says, I've seen that. I've seen him go in round like 5 and 6. People have sent me screenshots, and I just took him, but the draft was underway. and there was only 4 or 5 picks before my pick came up. So over the last 4 or 5 picks in round 9, no one had taken him, but maybe those people weren't watching the show. So tough to know where it's going to go. I kind of feel like he's going to climb into round 7, then climb into round 6, and then some people are going to take him at 5, and then hopefully he lingers in round 6. This is where I would take a stab at him. Not in every draft. I've been taking him in virtually every single draft for 4 straight months. Like, you guys have all seen it. I get made fun of every time I do it. I've been taking him literally in almost every single draft. Like, I would say like 80% of them. 85% of them, to be fair to the exact number. 85% of every, I would guess, 85% of every draft I've done on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, I'm taking him an 8, 9, and with a smile. With a big smile on my face, because we knew the league wouldn't, and probably still won't, we don't know for sure what they'll throw at him, but do anything, because these guys get away with this all the time. And the lesser charge, as Uncle Tony, the attorney, came on and talked about several months ago, that lesser charge, he didn't even plead to the lesser charge. He pleaded to a lesser charge below the lesser charge that was initially on the list of the 2 charges that came out that he pleaded not guilty to. He pleaded not guilty to the conspiracy to commit bodily harm, and then there was the felony charge of assault. So he had a felony charge of assault he pleaded not guilty to. He had a misdemeanor conspiracy to commit bodily harm, which was thought to be, this is about 4 months ago, thought to be the most likely scenario that he would plea out to, whether it's no contest or whether it be guilty. And then the NFL would potentially take action, but it's going to be minor action because it is a misdemeanor. This misdemeanor is not even the same as conspiracy to commit bodily harm. This is breach of peace that he's being charged with in a no contest way. So if, let's say, this is all out of he was out of the woods and he wasn't going to be suspended at all. Let's say the NFL came out tomorrow and said no suspension. Where would I take him? If there was no suspension, given his age of 28 years old, given that he did have some drop off last year, which I think you can in some ways account for because of the way he finished the season. So if we look at his final 4 games, 91 yards, and he's in the green. Let me get a way to highlight this and go over it with you. So if we look at his last 4 games, he's in the green this entire way. 21 carries, 20 carries, 16 carries, 23 carries. He's in the green here in terms of rushing: 91, 76, 73, 107. Only 1 touchdown, but the offense was putrid. Here, this is where it's concerning because he got 11 carries. The 18 carries was nice, 162 yards and a touchdown. The receptions weren't really there. The targets were okay in this time frame where he did very bad. It's almost like they moved him out at wide receiver more, and it just didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, I cut off the targets and receptions, but if you look over on the right side here, he has kind of an increased amount. As you can see, only green and yellow and no red territories, an influx in reception or targets, and just probably the lack of passing attack maybe just made him not deliver. There's a lot of reasons to look at his game log and say, okay, this excites me here. This is garbage. And then this got me excited again, and he's averaging 4.3. That 3.8 wasn't amazing, but 4.5, 4.6. There's a reason to get excited about Kamara even at the age of 28, but you still, like I say with Eckler, like I say with Henry, like I say with any running back that is 28 years old, 29 years old, you have to package in the risk factors that are present for a 28-year-old running back that has had massive volume. And so if, let's say, he was granted or given the gift of no suspension 2023, let's just pretend in fairy tale land the NFL comes out and says, nope, no suspension. Where should he go? With no suspension, there's no reason I'm drafting him really until, in that scenario, I would say top of round 5, maybe the very tail end of 4 in some scenarios where all my favorite guys have been scooped up. but give me Christian Watson over him. That's why I think that I'm never going to see Kamara go at 4.12 on my board, because London's probably there. Fields is probably there. Maybe I have Hurts already. Maybe Christian Watson goes. London goes. Walker's gone. All very unlikely scenarios at 4.12. But if Burrow's gone, all those guys are gone, and I've got Hurts already, and Fields is the only one there. You know, it's like Fields and Kamara. Like, could I see that in a world where Kamara was given no suspension? Understand what I'm saying here. This is fairy tale land. No suspension. This is about the furthest I would go up the board, 4.12 to 5.1, in an ideal scenario, given the potential drop-off of this man's numbers, but hopeful that he could come back and you could package in some risk involved. Fourth round, late fourth, almost fifth round value does account for being 28 years old. Late fourth to fifth round value does account for injury. Late fourth round and top of 5 round value does account for maybe there's a drop off, but we'll take the chance. We'll cuff him to Kendre Miller. But what I don't condone is a third round pick. If he was not suspended a game, too high. Too high when you have Olave's dropping in grandma leagues, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Christian Watson, London. There's no way I condone even a 0-game suspension Alvin Kamara in round 3. But the truth of the matter is the NFL is most likely going to come down and give him something along the lines of a 1, 2, 3, 4-game suspension. It's probably not 5 or 6. It could be. You never know what the NFL is going to do. Heavy-handed one moment, not heavy the other. We cannot predict the NFL. But more than likely, he's looking at a 1, 2, 3, or 4-game suspension for the optics alone. The fact that the NFL wants to send a message. The fact that if you look at the NFL's policy, they state here very clearly, according to the league policy, it's not enough to simply avoid being found guilty of a crime. We are all held to a higher standard and must conduct ourselves in a way that is reasonable, promotes the values of the NFL, and is lawful. So, meaning that the NFL is most certainly going to do something because of the optics of this. But will it be 1, 2, 3, 4-game suspension? If anybody thinks that they know for sure, they don't. But if anybody thinks that Goodell is not capable of underwhelming in this scenario to appease the people that look for justice and say, why does this man get away with doing this? Why does he get away with doing this? Even though I drafted him in every single league, practically 80% at least of all my leagues, walking out of, 5 months ago, I've drafted them all offseason. In fact, I think I could go back to January and look at my big boards, and it's probably 60% minimum that I've been drafting Alvin Kamara. Even with that, I believe he should be suspended. I believe he should get a season-long suspension. But what I believe to be the case, what I hope to be the case, I don't want to say hope because I don't hope bad upon anybody, but I do want justice. And I don't like the fact that Alvin Kamara is walking away from this almost untouched. It's not fair. It's not fair to the victim. It's not fair to the people in the future that are going to be subject to this type of thing. It's not fair to the people that do this and don't get away with it when Alvin Kamara can get away with it. But that doesn't really matter in today's conversation because we're talking about fantasy football. We're talking about you winning your leagues. I'm not going to take a stance on principle. I'm going to draft him. I have been drafting him. He's been on my Uranus list the entire offseason.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
Doesn't mean I don't draft him. Doesn't mean I don't see the value. At the end of the day, Alvin Kamara belongs to me in round 6. You can package in all the risk you want in round 6. You can package all the risk you intend to stumble upon in round 6. You can package in the decline. You can package in Kendre Miller. You can package in a 2-3 game suspension. If you start reaching higher than round 6, even round 5, when he could get a 2 or 3 game suspension, at this juncture, if we find out it's 1 game, we can revisit and maybe we open up round 5. Okay, I'm leaving an open mind for that. I want everyone to understand that right this very moment. We could open up round 5 for him if he gets a 1 game suspension or less or something like that, something crazy. But if he gets a 2 or 3 game suspension, how are you going to take him in round 5 when you've got players like London sometimes falling there, Justin Fields falling there, Jahan Dotson going in round 6, Kadarius Toney going in round 6, who's another head case right now. There's all this stuff on Kadarius Toney. We might be doing a live stream on Kadarius Toney. That might be the panic chamber tonight. to be honest with you. All the stuff coming out on Kadarius Toney. I still draft him, though. I still feel like the sky's the limit for him. But where do I draft him? Am I starting to back off on Kadarius Toney? He's been in the news. He's dropping these voice messages to people. I don't know if some of them are fake. We got to look into it. There's a lot going on with Kadarius Toney right now. He's going nuts on social media and dropping all these crazy convos that are being passed around, and we might cover that tonight. I'm not sure yet. I still love him. But Kadarius Toney is a head case, and that's why McKinnon's so important and vital to me and to the KC Chiefs in 2023 because of his involvement in the receiving department. That's why I do like Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. I think the combination of Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice in a best ball underdog fantasy promo code Smitty draft is actually really appealing because someone's going to thrive in that situation. This isn't about Kadarius Toney. This is about Alvin Kamara. This is about where can you get this man? Where would you draft him? And if he climbs higher than round 6, are you in or out? I'll tell you right now, in the current context, not knowing what we know about the suspension, but knowing what we believe we know, I'm saying 6.1 is the absolute highest anybody should entertain Kamara right now. This is one of those cases where we cleaned up all offseason long. Those that followed suit, we cleaned up all, maybe, I mean, we don't know for sure. We cleaned up all off season long, and now it's time to cut our losses in some ways. Don't go chasing Kamara down to the 4th round. Don't chase him into round 5. It is what it is. If you passed on Kamara and you had good reasons for it, and maybe you think he falls off anyway, that's fine. That's fine, but don't chase him into round 5. I'm telling you right now, not a good idea to chase him into round 5. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense given the players that are available. He's a round 6 player at best. And to be honest with you, I think I'm going to find half the time, if not more, I'm going to find a better player that I like when he's flying off the board. I'm going to find a player that I think is a whole lot more attractive before he goes off the board. And keep in mind, his ADP update that's going to happen on Underdog Fantasy is going to drive a lot of people to draft him even higher, because once he climbs higher, once he settles into a new ADP, this is how ADPs change and move. Once he settles into 6.5, let's say, then everyone's going to say, now I have to reach a little bit to get him. Now he goes at 6.1. in 20 drafts out of 100. And then he goes at 5.12 because somebody's seen him go at 6.1. And that ultimately moves him to 6.1, 5.12, 5.10. And before you know it, he's 5.5 because everybody is resetting their worst case scenario expectation, then reaching a little bit. I missed out on getting Kamara all this offseason. I want to get in now. You're going to overpay, and you're probably going to get burned if you go too high and climb up the draft board. That's the plain and simple truth to what's going on. Where is Kamara in Dynasty landing? That's an excellent question. And I think we got a super chat out here I want to make sure I take care of ASAP. Overcome dropping a super right on screen. Look at this first super chat of the night.
Mashed potatoes!
Overcome, my man, says where to turn when Bijan Wilson and Olave are sniped. Depends on the scenario, Overcome. But I think if Bijan, Garrett Wilson, and Olave are sniped, I imagine you're around St. Brown. I imagine you're around Barkley. I imagine you could go Barkley Hurts. I imagine you could do some sort of creative build that you have not done before that does not mirror or match the build you want to build with those guys. Go Barkley and Hurts. Totally different strategy in that particular draft. That's what I would do. And there's nothing wrong with Barkley and Hurts. There's nothing wrong with St. Brown and Barkley. There's nothing wrong with, really, I mean, you could go 100 different directions, man, my man. You could go 100 different ways. Kelsey, I'm sure, is gone. If Bijan ever goes early in a best ball and Kelsey's there, I go Kelsey and Mahomes. I do that stack a lot in best ball, but it's a great question. Appreciate your super chat. Any other super chats will get handled ASAP. I'm going to keep my eye on the prize today and make sure I handle super chats immediately. Agree, Smitty, can't see value in drafting Kamara at this point. It's kind of like we did what we did. We came in, those that believed and those that don't aren't right or wrong yet, because maybe he does fail no matter what, and it's all for nothing. You know, I could totally see that happening if, let's say, at 28 years old, he breaks down, doesn't do well, gets hurt right away. Maybe all this gets in his head. Kendre Miller is way better than anybody anticipates, which is definitely a possibility. I love Kendre Miller. I'm not a Jamal Williams guy. I'm drafting Kendre Miller almost as much as I'm drafting Kamara, but I'm usually drafting them together because I'm drafting Kamara constantly. But Kendre Miller, you know what? Maybe we're turning to the Kendre Miller show. Maybe Kendre Miller, off the back of this springboard ADP vault, we start going after Kendre. Maybe we put Kendre on the Moonman list if we're not careful. You have to stay tuned. Kendre Miller might be the value. Why? Because this is going to drive Kendre Miller's value down. Maybe it's time to say, let's hedge our bets. We got a bunch of Alvin Kamara in early to mid best ball drafts on Underdog Fantasy. Now it's time to shift our attention to Kendre Miller's season. How about that? How about we send Kendre Miller to the moon?
To the moon.
How about that? I say we start that movement and we do it live because that's how I feel. Kamara and Dynasty, it's a 1 year rental, bro. He's 28 years old with all the question marks that are making me tell you that even with no suspension whatsoever, you can't put him higher than 6.1, maybe 5.11 to 5.12. In the worst case scenario, I draft him at 5.12. Like I painted. I already had Hurts. I'm not going double QB. Maybe Fields is still there, but I can't take him. I just got Hurts. Although I'd probably take Fields anyway. But Watson's gone, London's gone, Walker's gone, and I'm sitting there and Kamara's there and there's no suspension. Maybe I take him at 5.12, but he's not going to have a 0-game suspension. He's going to have 1, 2, 3, or 4-game suspension, which puts him in round 6, not even round 5. That's my take. It's time to move on from Alvin Kamara if his value climbs. If it doesn't, then we toy around with the idea at round 6. But I'm telling you right now, Kendre Miller's season might be. I'm not saying Kamara won't win us leagues or anything. I'm just saying in terms of drafting right now. In terms of, we already did what we did. The damage has been done. We consumed Kamara to a crazy degree. And now it might be Kendre Miller's turn. Let's go. Appreciate you all. Hit that thumb up button. Let's ride. Phone calls are open. I'm going to turn the, let's hit this right here. Phone calls are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Let's see here. Cheryl with the super chat, $5 hauler. Appreciate you very much. Hey, Smitty, how do you rank Dotson, Tony Pickens, and three, if all three are available? Very, very, very easy for me at this juncture. It would be Dotson, ... space. And then the other two are it just depends. Like I said, the Kadarius Toney news, where he's kind of been going nuts, leaving weird voice messages to people. Like social media hate. People are hating on him, and I think he's leaving like voicemail. We don't know if they're all real, so I don't want to like overreact to it, but he's like, cursing people out left and right, just completely losing off the handle type messages to people. I don't know that translates to anything either. The NFL doesn't do anything about anything. So does it matter, or does it mean that he's a head case and he's going to blow up eventually on the field? We've always worried about that with Kadarius Toney. So I think that definitely puts distance between Toney and Dotson. Now, Pickens is safer. So I would say if you want safety, if you want reliability, I would go Dotson, space, Pickens, Toney. But Pickens and Toney interchangeable depending on your build. Are you going KC build on an underdog? Are you doing a redraft league with your buddies? Then I would probably go Pickens if you want safety and you don't want to mess around with Toney's head case situation. But I will say that Toney does have upside that gets up to Dotson's level. Not that Pickens doesn't. I do like Pickens a lot. They all, let me put it this way. They all have upside to be elite wide receiver twos. But Toney has that special just amount of upside that I think the other two don't have, but he's got way more risk, and so it kind of washes it. And it makes it so that crazy little bit of upside can't be utilized. The one thing, and I said this stat the other day, the one thing that people don't even, I think, realize in Kadarius Toney is that he was second in the entire National Football League in targets per wide receiver route ran. And it was like a 29.4% number. Kelsey's was 27. He had a higher targets per wide receiver route run percentage, 29 versus Kelsey's 27, second in the NFL. And so Kadarius is an absolute target monster when he's on the field. When he's on the field running a route, he is second in the NFL. Second in the NFL in targets per route run. That is a crazy number to beat Kelsey on his, and it's a smaller sample size, granted. And when you talk about him catching the football at the line of scrimmage or behind it, I believe, and don't quote me on this number, I could be wrong on this one. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this stat correctly. I believe on he caught, I think, 4 or 5 catches at the goal line, behind the line of scrimmage, or at the line of scrimmage, and I think he scored on 4 of them. Like, he's got these crazy metrics. So, but safety, I'm going Dotson over both of them without hesitation. I think this is a top 12 wide receiver in the making. And then Tony Pickens, you got to pick your poison on what you want to do. We got Melvin with a membership message here. Melvin, appreciate you. Thank you, Cheryl, for the $10 haul or $5 hauler. Melvin says 10-month anniversary message says, Smitty, someone took Burrow at second round and Garrett Wilson in the Garrett Wilson draft. What do I think? I think it's not crazy. I mean, he can way outperform like 18 overall, 17, 15 overall value, but anybody that takes him in the second round they're in a bind because they feel like someone else is going to take him and they're trying to do some sort of stack. So enter Garrett Wilson draft. What you just told me, he's in a Garrett Wilson draft. So that makes sense that he's going early, but nobody should be taking Burrow before the suggested rank is spacing him out to be very predictably placed. So if you're sitting there around 2 and he's really far down, he's like the 17th or 18th recommended player, you got to play the odds game that he's going to be available if your pick is, let's say, 7 picks away in the 3rd round. So it really just depends on every single case-by-case situation. Would I take him at round 2 if he climbed there? Absolutely. Does Joe Burrow belong in round 2 with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes? You bet your bottom dollar he does. But does he belong there ADP-wise? No. So why are you going to move him into the big boy at the big boy table when he's not sitting with the big boys? He's at the smaller kiddie table, and you're trying to shove him onto the big table and lose a whole bunch of value and swing that you're going to get with it. So don't overspend when you don't have to. Is the phone line open? I'm sorry if I hadn't seen the phone line dialing in. I had it up, but it was covered. If anybody was trying to dial in, the phone line's open now. But Kamara, where do you draft him? Where do you draft Kamara? I have a feeling that we're all, for the most part, on the same page that he's not a 4th rounder. Okay, he's not a 5th rounder, but I think we're going to have some variance between 6.1 and 8. I think the 8th round and the top of round 6, we're going to have variance between us. If anybody's tempted to take him in the 5th, I urge you not to. I urge you not to. Wait until the suspension comes down before you start making these crazy, attempts to grab a guy that we were just getting at round 9. You were just getting Kamara in round 9. Don't go reaching into round 5. It's not smart. It's not smart fantasy football drafting. Phone lines are open. I'm sorry if the phone lines were covered up. I couldn't see them if anybody dialed in. I was wondering why they weren't ringing, but they weren't up.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Okay. 28 minutes 33 seconds into the show. What a long drawn out intro, but it is what it is. What's up, Ninja? What can I do for you? You're live.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? Appreciate you having me on, man.
What's up?
Yeah, so I think I agree, man. Like Kamara, I don't know if I'm gonna go reaching for him in the 5th round or 6th round, but I do like the idea of getting him, amusing the 6th round as a possible acquisition for Kamara. I think he'll at worst get half of a season suspension, and in the middle of the season have a Christmas present like Kamara becoming active on my roster and being instantly ready to plug and play. I like that idea, and then getting a Kendre Miller later on in the draft, or because I think Kendre Miller's a dog. I think if he's healthy, And once again, it was just an MCL sprain. I think he's going to take over that job from Jamal Williams very easily. So I would be getting Kamara and Kendre Miller and being happy with that back and forth there.
Yeah, Kendre, I mean, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, Kendre Miller, he may make an emergence on the movement list. I mean, there's a time to strike. There's a time to try and get ahead of the curve. There's a time to just, okay, are we reacting? Are we just trying to, go against the trend? No, I mean, this is a guy that I had ranked flirting around the 3, 4, 5 territory for RBs walking into the NFL draft. And his landing spot is kind of quietly cloudy. And his landing spot's actually as cloudy as Kamara's was when Kamara landed with the New Orleans Saints when he was a rookie. And I had Kamara as a top 5 RB before he took a snap in the NFL on NBC Sports, CBS Sports Radio. Went on there talking about how Alvin Kamara, before he took a snap, going in like 5, 6, 7, 8 overall territory in rookie drafts that year. No one took Kamara 1, 2, 3. He was a 5, 6, 7 overall pick in rookie only drafts his rookie year. And I loved this situation because it was cloudy, but it was not cemented in. So Kendre Miller's walking into a very similar situation that Kamara was walking into many, many, many years ago. And this team actually loves this kid. This team actually has talked about him very much like he's capable of replacing Kamara. And I'm not saying he will be as good as Kamara, but I'm not saying he won't be. But I do believe, the team believes, that he has the skill set to become that pass-catching guy, the skill set to become the between the tackles guy. And if you watch his film, which is what we talked about all offseason with Kendre Miller, we talked about how he runs aggressively. Reminds me of just a tough nose. I don't know. The comp I gave him, I forget what it was. I want to say it says something like along the lines of a Marshawn Lynch. But just the way he's so aggressive and tough to bring down. I love Kendre Miller. And honestly, it's time to shift. I'm not saying I won't take Kamara if the price is right. I don't think the price will be right for very long. I think right now he'll linger in 7, 8. I think he climbs into 6, and then you're going to get people, once they see his ADP level at 6, they're going to start going, I got to take him early, and they're going to take him at 5. So if you take him in 6, you have to cuff him to Kendre. You have to. And if you don't decide to take Kamara, you just draft Kendre all day long, because guess what's happening? Alvin Kamara rising makes Kendre Miller fall. So Kendre Miller just went from cheap to even cheaper, which is what constitutes the potential little look-see that he's going to get for getting on the Moon Men list, because now he is essentially a free grab. He's going to drop, and it's going to be a pretty easy snatch.
Totally agree. And if you look at even the comparison between him and Jamal Williams, they're kind of like the same build. They're like 6 foot, 215, 220, but he's so much faster and much more agile and willing, like that, like you said, the aggressiveness that he's bringing with that, that young burst that he has. It's, I think they're just going to see that and they're like, okay, maybe we put Jamal Williams in for like crucial moments where we need that veteran savviness, but let's see what this kid can freaking do, All
right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Later. All right. Phone line's open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We'll see. Dial on in if you want to get your point across on Alvin Kamara, on Kendre Miller, on something else. Dial in. Let's talk about it. If you got a trade on the table for your league or whatever. Phone lines, I had some issues with it. I think it's fixed now. If for any reason you didn't get in, try again. I had it open for like the first 5 minutes and it did not. It was not dialing. So my fault on that. Dial in. Let's roll. If anybody has a different perspective on Kamara, I mean, do share. I just don't think the value is going to be there anymore. We see this time and time again when a player inflates in value is different than deflating in value. There's a much bigger knee-jerk reaction sometimes in the wrong sense of the word. Sometimes like the Alvin, like when let me put this in a different perspective. When Zach Charbonnet was drafted into that Seattle situation in that running back room, everybody overreacted to Kenneth Walker. I think the reactions are extreme in both senses. Like, people overreact to negative news and people overreact to positive news. But the benefit to people overreacting to negative news like Charbonnet is to an advantage to all of us. But when people overreact and inflate Kamara's value, you got to turn it into a positive as well by allowing the other people to take him early. And then he bumps somebody down. Like, somebody's going to fall a little lower. Charbonnet is going to fall one slot lower now. Javonte Williams is going to fall one slot lower now. Maybe Jahan Dotson falls one slot lower because of this. Maybe he climbs above Justin Fields, and now Fields falls one slot lower. And those are all very positive things. Let the overreaction for the positive on a player like Kamara, overreaction in a positive way, not good. Overreaction in a negative way for Kenneth Walker. Let both of them help you win. Let both of them assist you in winning. Another $5 holler here from Cheryl. Appreciate you. Smitty, Lockett and JSN seem to have the same ADP. Where do you land round 5-ish if you need to draft a wide receiver 2, 3, and both are available? It's a great question, and I don't like either of them this high, round 5. I like JSN a little more than Lockett for the long term, but Lockett's certainly going to have a big kung fu grip on the early targets. This offense runs a lot of 12 personnel, Cheryl, which means that they're not going to have 3 wide receiver sets very often. I doubt that really is changed at all. They're a run-heavy team that bases everything off of the run, and they have this Kenneth Walker-Charbonnet combo. They have DK Metcalf and Lockett are just cemented into those roles. Now, I do predict Lockett's an older player. He doesn't take hits at all. You can watch him play. He literally jumps to the ground when he's about to get hit. I don't know that he's got like 2-3 years left. While 1 year would be devastating to JSN's value, I think there's a shot that Lockett, I don't know. I'm taking a little bit of a guess and stab here. This is gut instinct, but my guess is Lockett is probably more likely to get injured this year than he was last year, and so on and so on. So I'm taking a little bit of a gamble and saying that JSN finds his way by midseason into a very target-heavy environment, and it doesn't change from midseason on. But there's a real good shot that he's the player that's not on the field when there's 3 wide receivers out there, and that's often. So I'm going to say JSN's a little bit risky. In the 5th round, Cheryl, I'm going to say don't go near any of those guys. I think you could get a better wide receiver. In the 5th round, London, in a lot of leagues where people aren't completely versed in practicing all offseason long, drafting at Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, link in the description of every video. The link is pinned. We'll be drafting on Underdog tonight. You got to click that link, get signed up. $10 minimum. They'll match up to $100. So if you deposit 10, they'll give you 10. If you deposit 100, they'll give you 100 on your first deposit if you're new. Go sign up now, guys, so you don't miss the draft tonight. Be signed up ahead of time so you don't miss. But I have a feeling like if I have to pick, London sometimes falls to 5 in those drafts, and those are very vetted. You know, I'm embedded in fantasy. I'm constantly drafting. He sometimes falls. Usually he goes in 4, but he's fallen to 5 a number of times to me. And I think that you're going to find a better wide receiver than Lockett or JSN in round 5. Now, if it's the tail end of 5, I don't necessarily hate the idea of going JSN, but more so in best ball. I don't know about redraft, because what do you do in weeks 1, 2, 3 if he's not getting on the field enough? So I'm going to probably say, find another wide receiver. I'm probably going to say there are several wide receivers that just feel safer. And if I look at Underdog ADP and I pull that up, and I'm going to look for regular 2023 setting wide receivers, you're talking about, let me go right to JSN and Lockett's value. So on Underdog, JSN is going number 63 overall. Lockett's going 64. So you were dead on. They're right side by side, neck and neck. Now, if I look below those wide receivers, Pittman, Burks, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, Dotson. I like Dotson most out of everybody I just named, including the 2 wide receivers that we're talking about. Above, I like Hopkins, potentially, that's risky. London, even McLaurin, even though I like Dotson, I kind of like McLaurin more. DJ Moore, I like more. Those are all players I like a little bit more. But I think what I would tell you, Cheryl, is to maybe punt wide receiver there and go after Dotson the next round. And if Walker falls to you in the 5th round, which he does almost 50% of the time minimum, he does in the weeklies. In the weeklies, I'm getting Walker as my 5th drafted player. Pretty much, I would say 6 or 7 drafts out of 10. It's crazy because I'll get like the 5.2 or the 5.3 or the 5.1 or the 5.5, and Walker's been falling. And so punt wide receiver there, even if you're worried about it, and go get Dotson, Pickens, Kadarius Toney, those guys later, and fill your wide receiver room that way. That would be my best advice. Don't chase a position, even if you feel like you're needy at wide receiver. Don't go reaching for Dotson in 5 when you can get him in 6 and you can get Walker, or Fields in 5. I'd go Fields in 5 in a millisecond. I think that's fantastic. Thank you for the super chat. Steven, you are live.
I'd like to, first of all, how's everybody doing this evening? How are you, Smitty?
What's up, Steven? What you got?
Well, I wanted to add a little something. We were talking about it in the chat. Jamal Williams is in New Orleans, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I would challenge anybody. I went back and took a look at the tape from last year in Detroit, and I made the comment via the chat that he looked to me like an excellent running back in his prime. And if the offense works with Carr, they've always run 2-back sets. Williams could be a late round steal just on the touchdowns alone. I remember when Mark Ingram was there, and I can't remember the other back, but they've always had 2 fantasy relevant running backs when they were talented, and that may be the best duo in the league. And at Williams, you get inside the 5-yard line, they're going to give him some shots. So what would 7 or 8 touchdowns, be worth in a redraft, or where he would get him, 11th, 10th, 11th round? I don't know.
I mean, look,
I'm not sure. You guys tell me.
Well, here's the thing: do you have a point? Yes, you do. Is there a chance that Jamal Williams is the number 1 running back in New Orleans by the end of the year? There's certainly a shot at it, and I will say that if I'm drafting Kendre Miller and Kamara, there's a little bit of concern that I'm missing the real cuff, but I just feel like that season that Jamal put together last year was unusual to a degree that we'll never see again in the NFL for a long time, let alone for Jamal. And even though Jamal came over to New Orleans with an amazing resume from 2022, it was a weird resume that is really the only reason he was as good as he was is because he got fed this ungodly amount of close to the end zone touches, especially inside the 5-yard line. St. Brown was getting tackled on the 1-yard line multiple times. They were constantly inside the 5-yard line. They just kept handing this guy the football. And you could say, well, he still had good yardage though. But honestly, bro, when it comes down to it, when I watch the film, I see a much better, more explosive player in Kendre Miller, who I believe is going to get a majority of the work when we're heading from 20 to 20. And maybe Jamal's given the football once you get inside the 10-yard line, and that's going to kind of hamper some of Kendre Miller or Kamara's touchdown potential. And then we just kind of throw our arms up and say, man, this whole New Orleans running back room is just driving us nuts, and I want nothing to do with it. I can see that playing out more than Jamal dominating it, is the way I'd put it. But you're not wrong in thinking that. No one knows the answer. Jamal certainly came out of last year with the ability to, for you to argue, hey, he could be the number 1 in this backfield. But for me, it's Kamara's got the experience in the backfield. I realize he's 28 years old. I realize injury is very likely. And I paid a price that had all of that baked in about 80% of my drafts for months and months and months, scooping this guy up like he was free. And I'm going to reap the rewards, I believe. And if I don't, it's not going to cost me anything because I drafted him in round 9 over and over and over again. So I'm not willing to bet on Kamara.
I'm saying is you are exactly correct. The only thing I'm saying is that I have seen that Saints backfield be beneficial with both backs, not just one. But they
but the one thing I would say though is they love Kendre Miller, bro. They love him. They drafted him. I loved him. I loved him before. He is, in my opinion, twice the RB that Jamal is. And I felt that way before he landed in New Orleans. So nothing's changed because of Kendre's situation. If anything, Kendre's situation kind of feels cloudy, but very, very in crafty fashion, similar to how Kamara's felt cloudy. There was an opening. There was a crack in the opportunity there to just bust through and be the guy. I hear what you're saying, but I am not drafting Jamal really at all. And I could be wrong at the end of the day. I admit that I don't really know how it's going to shake out, but I feel like Kamara and Kendre are the two guys you want. You want a Kamara earlier. Now you may not draft him at all, depending on cost. Kendre's practically free. Jamal's practically free. I bet Jamal's value drops. You know, I wouldn't even say it's a bad strategy to cuff Kendre and Jamal together and just avoid Kamara altogether. Because if Kamara drives down Jamal and Kendre's value, now you can cuff both of them at near free prices. So why not just cuff the two? Why not get the best of both of what we're saying? I like Kendre, you like Jamal. They're both going to be practically free. Not really, but they're both dropping. Kamara is going to force both of their values down. Why? Because how is Jamal exciting now when this guy's probably going to play a lot more? Like someone came into the chat, and I appreciate them. I don't want them to take this offense to this, but they came in and said, Jamal season, baby. Like in the middle of the Alvin Kamara is probably not looking at a suspension like we thought, maybe a 1 to 2 game suspension. He's like, Jamal Williams to the moon, baby. It's like, how do you get excited? How do you get more excited about Jamal Williams when Kamara is just about to not get a suspension that you were thinking he might be looking at?
Smitty, because it's one of those home run shots that's a late pick.
Right.
You know what I mean? You throw it on there, and hey, look, let's say Kamara doesn't miss a game. Let's say he gets 3 games in and he's killing it, and then he gets hurt.
Well,
you know what I mean? If he gets hurt, then you have a rookie, and you got Jamal Williams. That's
like I said, cuff him
for a late pick.
Like I said, cuff him, because you don't know the answer to that. And I'd rather bank on the younger rookie than bank on Jamal, but I'll take both of them. I don't mind both of them. I'll draft both of them. In fact, I'll probably try it tonight if I can. I'll draft Kendre Miller, I'll draft Jamal, and I'll avoid Kamara because I've got enough Kamara that I can walk away from the situation, wash my hands, and say, I have hundreds of drafts with Alvin Kamara. Hundreds of drafts. I don't even know how many. I honestly don't know how many Alvin Kamara. I'm gonna look at some of my exposure, and my Alvin Kamara shares are just absolutely crazy.
Are you taking him in the third?
The treat what?
Are you taking him in the third?
Taking who in the third?
Kamara.
Have you not listened to a thing I've said, Steven?
Well, I tried to. What'd I miss?
I'm saying stay away from Kamara because you're going to have to pay too high a price tag. I'm telling you not to take him in round 5, Steven. You're not going to take him in the 3rd round. If he fell to, let's say, I don't know, if he fell to, let's say, round 6.5, right now, knowing what we know, I don't mind that. I don't know that I'm going to scoop him up in every draft, but he is at best a 6th-round pick right now. Anything higher is definitely playing with fire. The time was here and it's gone to draft Kamara. You know, now you're chasing Kamara, and it's going to probably burn you if you go down the 4th round rabbit hole, the 3rd round rabbit hole. This is a at best 6.1 player right now with the threat of a potential suspension. All right, hold on. Let me look at my shares. So in the pre-draft, I have Kamara as my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 most drafted player. We're talking about January, February, March. That's in the pre-draft. In the super flexes, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, my 5th highest drafted player in super flexes, Alvin Kamara. In what is this? This is the rookies and sophomores. He obviously wouldn't be there. the 2023 season drafts, which is what we're going through now. He is my second drafted player with 59% ownership. Charbonnet's at right there. Kincaid, Jahmyr Gibbs, Walker. They're all Burrow. They're all sitting there just 60 to 60% ownership across the board on all those guys. A lot of people say you shouldn't have more than 30% ownership of a player. Give me a break. Where do you come up with these numbers? You can do whatever you want. You want to stack all your eggs in one basket and go for a big home run swing and have 50 teams or 100 teams or 200 teams or 500 teams all hitting heavy with 4 and 5 guys you're banking on. If you land those 4 or 5 guys, you are going to have so many variants of your winning successful formula that you're bound to hit a lot better. Now, if you miss on a couple of those guys, yeah, you're going to crash and burn. But that's a brute force attempt at trying to win best ball. There's no set rule of percentage. I get so tired of these rules everybody has. Didn't you know you should only have 20%? You should only have 30% of this. You shouldn't draft this. You got to draft 4 players in this position. You can do whatever you want. And yeah, there are people that have won. You can look at the success rates and everything, but it comes down to your style. You can't follow other people's styles if it doesn't work for you either. But yeah, Kamara, my second most drafted player in the 2023 season drafts, which is, I believe, after the NFL draft on. So, Gibbs, I got Gibbs too. Gibbs is right there. Gibbs is in the top 5 of pretty much every single format of underdog and exposure. That's crazy. Weekly winners. I haven't looked at that. That's separate. Weekly winners. This one's a little different. I Walker above Kamara. I have Jahan Dotson number 2, Kincaid, Walker, Charbonnet, Bijan. Bijan's in the top 6 pretty much in all my formats. Unreal. Steven,
well,
anything?
He has to be. He's not going past 6 in the first round now, is he? If he did,
no. These are exposures to me. Like, I'm the 6th most exposed to Bijan on all my teams. Is what I'm saying. That means that a majority on all my teams, the guy I have the most he's the 6th most likely player to be on my roster. That's what that means, exposure. It's not talking about draft value. What else you got, Steven?
Can't think of anything right now. I'm just sitting here listening.
All right, appreciate you, Steven.
Where's everybody else at? Where's Ron Navy in the game?
Call in. Phone lines are open. Appreciate you, Steven. All right, guys, we're live in Vegas. Friday, 7 p.m. show. Friday evening, midnight show. Saturday, 9 a.m. to probably 2 or 3 Vegas time. That's noon Eastern to 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you follow. All 4 shows will be live streamed from Vegas starting on Friday evening. Thursday. Let's see, for Thursday. Yeah, Thursday will be normal show. Normal show on Thursday. Okay. Let me see if I can get to some of these questions here. Got super nervous about 2023 class in February. Traded the 2.6 for AK that day. Yeah, 2.6. I mean, who cares about a mid-second round pick? You know, I like that. Go for a player you really like if you're gonna trade that pick. Who knows what you're gonna get with that selection. I'm not saying throw away, but all right. Let's see here. If we're going off last year, Mahomes was able to get 5,000 yards and didn't favor a receiver except for Kelsey. I think we'll see more of that this year. We could. It depends on how good Kadarius Toney develops. Again, Kadarius Toney was the 2nd in the NFL, ahead of Kelsey even in targets per run route. So if he's on the field, those numbers should tell you Mahomes loves him. Mahomes will force feed Kadarius Toney. He had a higher percentage of targets per route than Travis Kelsey, and Kadarius Toney was 2nd in the entire National Football League. So if they use him, if his head case of a head doesn't keep him off the field, he's gonna ball. He's gonna ball. But that's the problem: injury, and he's a head case. Those are two huge red flags. But talent is not one of them, and targets will not be one of them. But his head might keep him off the field, and then you end up being right, Isaac. So wouldn't be shocked if that's the way it went. But bro, I mean, Tony's so exciting. 29% of his targets per route run, or that was his rate. Targets per route run rate was 29% versus Kelsey's 27. It's not a knock on Kelsey. 27's insane. I believe that was third or fourth. But Mahomes had two players that ranked in that top, 5 percentage territory. Two of them. One was Tony, one was Kelsey. So it's time to get excited about Tony, but you just have to be careful. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Hit me with the phone calls. Hit me with the questions. Thank you again for the super chats. Kadarius Toney or Gabe Davis? Kadarius Toney by a mile. And it doesn't mean I don't like Gabe Davis, but they're not even close in ADP, let alone in my mind. I'm not going to lie. I got a bunch of Toney so far. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid this year. Appreciate you, Snowman. Good deal for you. Hopefully you got him at a steal too. Tony is injury-prone head case. I'm passing on him. I don't blame you, Fred. That's certainly a concern. He's got 2 huge red flags, but for some reason he's such a fun prospect. The numbers, the metrics are through the roof. Robert says, great opportunity for Tony. He better seize it. Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get to speed round. Let's do speed round. That means that you're going to keep it short. Ask your question. I'll go as fast as I can. Let's do a 7-minute speed round. I'll try and answer every single question. If it's a long question, I'm skipping it. So make sure it's like a one-liner. Let's go.
It is time for the speed question and answer segment.
All right, let's set this timer at 7 minutes, and we'll go ahead and go from there. I have a couple callers here on hold. Just hang tight for me. I want to add one more. Hey, Bruce, hang tight for me. If you don't mind muting real quick, I'm doing a speed round. Feel free to punch a question in too, but hang tight. I'll come right back around to the callers. All right, Kadarius Toney less efficient. Mecole Hardman. Not really, Isaac. I appreciate you, but not based on the metrics of being the targets per route run, and is the fact that I think he scored 4 of 5 inside the 5-yard line catches for touchdowns, and they're all caught at the line of scrimmage or beyond. I think he's a very efficient player. It's more so his head case, but I love him. He's gonna either bust or win a league. he's gonna be one or the other. I do acknowledge that he's gonna bust. 50% of him is gonna bust. 50% of him I think is gonna explode. It's just one of those players. Tony's a stud because if he busts, it's because of injury. So you can just say if he didn't get hurt. Yeah, it's similar to the Mike Thomas arguments. If Mike Thomas didn't get hurt, he'd absolutely be whatever. Okay, so here we go. Pitts or Goddard. I'm gonna go Pitts, but that's a tough one. Pacheco or Swift. I'm gonna go Pacheco. I love both of them though, but I like Pacheco slightly more. Gibbs only versus Walker and Charbonnet. Gibbs only versus Walker and Charbonnet. I'd probably go Gibbs, but I'd say Anthony. These are both almost identical. I love both of them. I want both of them. I'd say equal. I'm actually not going to choose. I'm going to say Gibbs equals Walker and Charbonnet together. They're an equal share, and they're the best running back combo you can have by going, wide receiver, then getting Gibbs and Walker. Absolutely love it. Ramondre with a 4th, Walker in the 6th, Watson for a 10th, Ridley with a 15th. This is a tough one. I'd say, man, I mean, you almost have to go Ridley in the 15th. Watson in the 10th is probably best because if you carry it over from year to year, you continue to reap the rewards. But Walker for a 6th round, It's you can draft him around 5 sometimes, so it's like it's not. I love having Walker there because I think next year that will look amazing. But I'll probably roll with Watson in the 10th, but that's really close, bro. Ramondre's a 3rd rounder anyway. Walker's a 5th rounder, which is a steal. So the real values are Ridley and Watson. If you think Ridley can do it for 2 more years, Ridley might be the choice for you. CD or Waddle. CD's going way, way above Waddle. Well, actually, no. Waddle's going like 15, 14, 16. CD's going, I wouldn't constitute that as way. But I'd say that CD's a 1st rounder, Waddle's a 2nd. So, and I'm not liking Waddle in the 2nd round. So give me CD Lamb all day long. How do you feel about Sky Moore? I like Sky Moore a lot, but he's certainly, behind Kadarius Toney for me. Puka, we like Puka a lot. Puka is, he's a stash. He's a guy you wait on. You just hope that something develops. He's in best ball end of the draft guy that you're drafting. He's similar to like Michael Wilson in Arizona, rookie wide receiver that I love a lot, that I grab at the end. Same thing as Charlie Jones. So those are all in the same bucket. Hall, Pollard, Stevenson ranked the best to worst. I would go Pollard, Hall, Stevenson, but Hall, they're all very close. I put Pollard first, but barely, and Hall and Stevenson. Now, if it's Dynasty, give me Hall all day long, and then I'd put Pollard and Stevenson tied, maybe even Stevenson over. I'd say tied. But in redraft, give me Pollard, Hall, Stevenson in that order, but it's super close, bro. We're talking about those guys might be one after the other on my rankings, you know what I'm saying? Does the interest in Cook lessen the value for Breece? No, if it ends up unfolding that way, but everyone says that, Scott. You said this earlier. I'm not scared of Breece Hall. Dalvin Cook would cost a lot of money. I don't think that's in the plans. I mean, I think they'd offer him a really low offer and say, hey, Breece, can we bring in a backup? You know what I'm saying? This is not something where he's going to take over Breece Hall's job. Can I buy you and the wife a drink Friday? Says Vag. Yeah, Veda, you can certainly, we'll figure something out, Veda. Okay. Appreciate you. I'll see you there, pal. I think Veda's going to be there. Blackbeard's going to be there. Scared Scott's going to be there. Denny's going to be there. I'll be in Vegas on Friday at Circa Las Vegas and Casino at Stadium Swim. I'll be there at 9 a.m. at the poolside in a suite. Look for me in a suite. I'll be in a suite, not just sitting out there on a lawn chair. We'll be in a suite doing it live. But I will be going live the night before, probably from the sports book. I think Circa is going to set me up in the sports book during the Friday night show, which is going to be amazing. So that was great. They're taking care of your boy Smitty over there for sure. Would you trade Watson for St. Brown? I would take St. Brown in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, for I love Watson, but yeah, I mean Watson, the values are crazy different. Downs or Hyatt? Give me Hyatt. Dynasty future pick to offer for Kendre Miller. What future pick? I mean, not a first rounder. He's a moon man, but he's a moon man prospect. We're going to talk about him. I don't know if he's going to crack it, but Kendre Miller season might be entering the equation now that Alvin Kamara's value is going to go up past the point that we like it. Addison or Flowers for 2023? It's got to be Addison, I think, for the volume, but I like Flowers as a better prospect. Walking into the draft, him and JSN were neck and neck. I kept going back and forth on Flowers and JSN. So from a talent perspective, they're all three very close, but I just don't know that I don't know how Flowers' situation is going to unfold, to be honest. But I do love Flowers. I think he's overall an amazing prospect. Kind of better than JSN across the board, but JSN's super good at a couple things that brings it back to flush. Judy or Godwin or Keenan Allen. Give me Keenan Allen, and then Judy and Godwin are tied. I would say Godwin, but he's in a horrible situation. I don't care if he gets flooded with targets. Are they going to be accurate targets? If you have Tony, are you trading Judy for Sky Moore and a first? Yes. I would trade Judy for Sky Moore and a first in a heartbeat. I don't like Judy. I like Judy. I don't like his situation, and I don't like that he hasn't delivered yet, and I don't like that they're talking about Tim Patrick being the number one wide receiver there. The fact that Marvin Mims is talked about as being the guy Sean Payton wanted, those are two reasons why I think Judy could be faded a little bit, especially if he gets banged up and he has trouble staying healthy. Ridley or Amari? Ridley by a mile for me. What kind of season does Hawkinson have? I think a top 5-6 season. I don't know that he's number 3 for me like everybody else. I think someone else slips in there, but I do like him. Garrett Wilson or CeeDee Lamb. Give me Garrett Wilson every time. Doesn't mean I hate CeeDee Lamb. You guys know I love CeeDee Lamb. Let's see. I'm in Vegas. All right, attaboy Sam. Guys, make sure you see me. Scared Scott says, I meant, does it throw a red flag on the health of those two? No, because we have no reason to think that just because they're inquiring about a running back. Every team should be looking at how cheaply they could get Dalvin Cook. He's a great asset to any team. It doesn't make me think they're worried about Breece Hall at all. If we hear something about Breece Hall, then we'll assess it then. But just speculating because they had interest in him, I don't think so, bro. B-Rob, number 2 overall. You talking about Bijan? Bijan Robinson. What's up, Bruce? I'm almost done. Hang tight, Bruce. Bijan Robinson, number 2 overall. Yeah, I mean, I could get behind that easily. Calvin Ridley or Drake London. Give me. I go back and forth on this one. Give me Drake London at cost, but I draft Calvin Ridley ahead of him, and I have. But I like at cost London more. Meaning I go Kenneth Walker or Jahmyr Gibbs, and then I go London later versus, you know what I mean? Christian Watson, DJ Moore, redraft. Give me Christian Watson all day long. And yeah. All right. Anyone doesn't want to pay Circa hotel prices can stay at the D. Access Stadium Swim, a minute from Circa. Okay, good thought there. Appreciate you, man. I don't know what the D is. I mean, I wonder, but I what's up, Bruce?
Hey, Smitty. I got a question. Would you go Kadarius Toney in the 6th, or would you gamble on Sky Moore later and say, I'm going to take my chances on Sky Moore? She goes later.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's a him or him situation. Like, you might be able to do both, you know? Like, Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore, like, I'm drafting both of them together usually, whenever I can. At cost, I don't know that Sky Moore's better, because Sky Moore is not guaranteed anything. And we don't, they didn't use him last year. He is kind of smaller. There's a lot of concerns, that he may not be the guy, but you want to cuff him. It'd be a smart move. But Kadarius Toney in round 6 is pretty decent value. It just really comes down to who else is on the clock. Who else is there, Brucey? Is Swift there and you need a running back? Then I probably go Swift. Is Pacheco there and I need a running back? I probably go Pacheco. Is Trevor Lawrence there and I need a quarterback? I probably go Trevor Lawrence over Toney. So I could give you like 50 names that are not, I won't say 50 because a lot of them are obvious, but I'd say I give you 10 names of players that are right around Toney's ADP that oftentimes go right where he is, or even some of them after. 5-6 names that traditionally go after Toney. I could give you 5 or 6 names that I'd take over Toney in the 6th round. But it doesn't mean I don't like him in the 6th round. It just totally depends on who's there. But Pacheco over Toney. In some cases, I take Pickens over Toney because I want this team to look and feel more secure. And then sometimes I've taken Toney over Pickens, and just to get mix it up. And I've liked both styles. I've gone heavy KC if I'm in best ball, underdog fantasy, promo code Smitty, link in description, link pinned in the live chat. Make sure you're signed up because we're drafting tonight on Underdog. That link needs to be clicked. You need to sign up in advance, so you're not trying to do it at the last second. Go do it. Promo code Smitty, or just use that link in the description of every video or in the live chat. But sometimes on Underdog, I'll draft Mahomes, and then I'll take Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, and I'll have Kelsey, and then I've got Kenneth Walker and Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm just loving my team. I've got Dotson, I've got London or whatever, and I've got this crazy build around the KC squad. That all KC team I did. Remember that team looked like? Let me see if I can find that all KC team. What was that on? Was it a little board? Was it a little board? Where did we draft that all KC team?
I forget.
Do you remember if it was it Superflex?
Was it a best ball?
Was it a poodle? I forget it. Was it a Chihuahua? Maybe it was a Chihuahua. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. KC team. Okay, here it is. So here's my KC team. I'm gonna throw both of these teams on to the screen. These are both of my KC builds. and they're both crazy. They're both crazy ways to build a team in Best Ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. All right, here it is. Ready, Brucey? I haven't looked at these since we did it last, so I don't know if they're going to look less appealing.
Ready.
They may not look as appealing as I thought. Because I thought they were going to look great at any time I looked at them, but sometimes I look at a team and I'm like, oh, that looks so good earlier, and now I don't know. All right, here it is. Team number 1. Let's zoom in so we get surprised. Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love. Okay, you feeling pretty good about that so far, Brucey? I know I am. Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love. Okay.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Pacheco, Kamara, McKinnon. Okay.
Yeah.
So not only do we have the KC running back crew, we got Kamara. we got Kamara at cost. We got Kamara at cost. Kamara.
At good cost too.
Yeah. Gibbs, Pacheco, McKinnon, Kamara. Look at these wide receivers, Brucey. Christian Watson, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Curtis Samuel, Nathaniel Dell, Justin Ross, Richie James, Travis Kelce, Luke Musgrave. Okay, so the team is all KC. It's Mahomes and Kelce. It's Gibbs, Watson, Kadarius Toney, Pacheco, Kamara, McKinnon, straight fire. Love that team. That's an all KC team. Here's the second all KC team that I did, Superflex. Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence. Oh, this looks the same. Did I send the wrong? Let me see if I might need to send. Did I just draft the same team? Hold on. Oh, here it is. Here it is, Bruce. Okay.
All
right. This one's different. Oh, I see Kenneth Walker on this one. I'm getting excited. So, Mahomes and Carr. Yeah. Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Charbonnet, McKinnon. So, I got the Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, and Pacheco, McKinnon with Mahomes. Debo, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Curtis, I got the whole KC room, Travis Kelce, Taysom Hill. Like those are really, really interesting builds. To have Mahomes and Kelce, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Debo Samuel, that's pretty solid. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. Crackshot says running backs are vomit. Jahmyr Gibbs, Pacheco. Okay, bro. And Kamara, McKinnon. I mean, they aren't as deep as this other crew, maybe, but you think what you want there, Crackshot. I love it. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door, says Blackbeard. Appreciate you. Blackbeard's going to be in Vegas. Man, these were interesting teams. These were really, really fun teams. I don't know what my favorite teams are on Best Ball. I've like renamed them to try and remember, and then I can't even like later on. I'm like I look back and I'm like, where was that team? Where was that team that I loved so much? This one's crazy. Oh my god, this is my favorite team I've ever drafted in my life. Look at this, Bruce.
I'm looking.
I can't believe this is the Saturn team. Do you remember this one? Is this in Superflex? What is this? Hold on. Oh, that Chihuahuas, by the way, those were those Superflex Chihuahuas? No, those weren't Superflex Chihuahuas. That team that I did, those two teams right here, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. These were not Superflex, I don't believe. These were not Superflex. These just happened to have, this team just happened to have Trevor Lawrence and Mahomes. And it was a 1 QB. Okay, so that makes it interesting in a different way. This right here is in a 1 QB. This is my 3 QB approach. Remember this? This is in a 1 QB Best Ball Chihuahua draft. Okay? This was the crazy team that I built. No, this isn't it. I keep putting the wrong thing on screen, Brucey. Hold on. Where is it? Here it is. This is a 1 QB Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty Chihuahua 1 QB draft. absolutely insane approach. Do not try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. This is not for those of you that get upset stomachs and you get all anxious. One QB. I wanted to try this. Remember I did this live? Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields. One QB. I wanted to try it. I just wanted to try it. I want to dominate the quarterback scoring, and this fell naturally. Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Charbonnet, McKinnon, Kendre Miller. Justin Jefferson, Jahan Dotson, Kadarius Toney, Nathaniel Dell, Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill. I'm not saying like if you envision, okay, well, Smitty, if this is a 1 QB, what if you did take the Burrow pick and you replaced one of these guys? What if you took the Fields pick and you replaced one of these guys? I get it, but the whole point here is to try out what in the hell happens. I don't know. It could totally flop. This is why we play a bunch of $5 and $7 drafts and do all these different strategies. What if this combination of quarterback scoring blows everybody out of the water? And if I get the production out of Kamara that I predicted that I would get here, if I get something out of Charbonnet, McKinnon, I got Kendre Miller and Kamara cuffed. I mean, what the hell? How is anybody going to compete with this if I land my running back and wide receiver rooms? I got J.J. Dotson, Kadarius Toney, Justin Ross, Nathaniel Dell, Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill. How is anybody going to compete? Jeez. Here's Crackshot with his other ridiculous.
Oh, and you can't compete with that, you can't compete on best ball with that.
Receivers are garbage. Crackshot's that guy that doesn't like look at the context. He's like, he doesn't realize you went wide receiver in a draft. He's like, your running backs are light. Bro, this is crazy. This team is my favorite team that I've drafted. It may not win. It may have a lot stacked against it, but this is my favorite team I've drafted. JJ, Breece Hall, and all three of those quarterbacks is insane. Just insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo! But you can't force it. You got to do it naturally. I had a lot of people after that show DM me, Smitty, how do you like this so far? And they were forcing it like over and over and over again. And I got to tell you, that's not going to work. It's got to fall. Like Fields fell to me when I didn't want to take anyone else. Like I was looking at the board and I was in the 5th round and I said to myself, there's no one here I like. Everybody I like is literally 15 player slots down. And I have a feeling that if I take Fields here, that I'm still going to get the guy I would reach on, right? And then the guy that I would take the next pick round would still be there in the next round. And so you're talking yourself into like, I'm not going to miss a beat. Like taking Fields, I did not miss a beat because I guarantee you I would have reached on the next 2 or 3 picks because I didn't like the flow. So that's why Fields was drafted where he was drafted. Ron Navy, you're live.
What up?
What's up? I forgot about this team.
Oh, I couldn't call in early. I was eating.
Oh, I didn't know if anybody was calling in because the phone lines I thought were up. I forgot how good this team was.
And I heard Steven ask, "Where's Ron Navy?" And I was like, "I'm eating." I was eating crab legs.
I forgot how good this team was, Ron, this 3 QB one. This Hurts, Burrow, Fields, Breece Hall, Kamara, Charbonnet, McKinnon, Kendre. That Kendre Kamara one could work out real well. I love McKinnon too.
Yeah. Vamp
Don't worry, Smitty.
We should try the same thing in the weeklies.
Yeah. I might. The only thing about the weeklies, and I go back and forth on this because like I feel like no one knows on the weeklies, right? So like I'll say something and then you could easily sway me to think the other way because the weeklies have never been done before. But part of me feels like while it would be good to have a backup quarterback, because what if your team's amazing? Part of me feels like you're taking a better 1 week shot by not having the double quarterbacks and the triple quarterbacks because granted, you want to have that quarterback available, but you're almost banking on, okay, if I draft Burrow, could something not, let's not use Burrow. If I draft Mahomes, I don't want my boy Burrow getting any kind of bad.
You didn't want to say in case he gets injured. That's what it was.
If Mahomes gets injured, let's use Mahomes. Sacrifice Mahomes if we have to sacrifice somebody. If Mahomes got hurt, then you're probably getting most likely a handful of tries at it anyway, because every week is independent on the weekly. So I just feel like if I had more firepower, you're more likely to hit a 20K spot. But I get the argument of like if you did stack this in weeklies, and you just get those sleepers to pop off, you could argue that you have a higher likelihood, a chance of having one of those quarterbacks have that 55-point game that's going to push it over the edge. So maybe I do try it. Maybe I try it in one weekly and just see what happens.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt to try draft. I might do it.
But I'll do it naturally. Because you definitely got to do it. And I haven't been in a position to do it yet. Smitty, how many games do you think Kamara will be suspended? I think 1, 2, or 3, Neil. It's really hard to predict at this point, but probably 1, 2, or 3 is my guess. I think he does get suspended, but I think to the letter of the law, it's hard to the optics will make them do something, but it's hard to say that a breach of the peace, which I mean, I don't even know what someone could get a breach of the peace for. Like, if you literally yelled in a public restaurant vulgar language, would that be breaching the peace? Is that the kind of punishment, this misdemeanor that Kamara pled no contest to? Like, wasn't that? I think 1, 2, or 3 games, but we really don't know. The NFL is so unpredictable. We can't say for certain. But if you watch the beginning of the show, I kind of talk about where I would draft him. So make sure you're not taking him in like round 4 or 5. Don't fall victim to chasing Kamara into that rabbit hole. It's honestly, I don't know, Ron, if you saw it, but it's honestly making me want to say Kendre Miller season. It's honestly making me think, and Steven actually brought up a good point for once, believe it or not, is, maybe Jamal, well, he helped me piece this together, I should say. Maybe Jamal Williams and Kendre together is one of the craftier double-digit round cuffs now. And you just say, okay, I'm hedging my bets. I've got a lot of Kamara shares. I know you don't, Ron, but in my opinion, I would say to myself, yeah, I'm going to take Kendre. To me, is the best talent there for the long term, and they may turn to that and say, and let's say Kamara is starting to wear down like you think, then I think Kendre is going to get an opportunity between the 20s, and yeah, maybe they keep handing Jamal the ball. But Kendre will eventually, if Kamara's out of the picture due to an injury or something, I think they eventually say, let's see what the kid has. Because they've talked him up a ton. And this is a guy, if you guys remember my pre-NFL draft analysis, Kendre Miller and Sean Tucker both were really, really high comparatively to like other analysts out there that were ranking these guys. Kendre Miller wasn't talked about a whole lot. We loved Kendre Miller. We loved Sean Tucker. Both of them came in and they're just aggressive, walking into the NFL draft. And then obviously Sean Tucker wasn't able to even work out. Wasn't drafted. But Kendre Miller was drafted into the same kind of scenario that Alvin Kamara was, a cloudy environment with multiple running backs where he technically is the most talented player on the roster. I'm really, really liking Kendre Miller. And if I got him at 146 overall back at this point, I'm sure he's climbed. I don't know what's his ADP. Let me look at Kendre Miller's ADP. I have a feeling that this Alvin Kamara news bumps him down a round or 2. So I'm all in on Kendre Miller at this point. I've got enough Alvin Kamara. I don't need to go near it unless he falls to like the 6th, 7th round. But let me see where the values are. So Alvin Kamara is at 102. That's surely declined to like the 80s or 70s. Honestly, Kamara in the 80s makes total sense in terms of how people will react. Let's see. Jamal Williams in 125. I bet you he goes down into the 130s easy. And then Kendre Miller 137. So I got him back in the day at 145. He climbed to 137. I think he at least climbs back to 140, 150. But you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I think personally, I like that approach with Jamal and Kendre. As long as people don't think Jamal's going to do what he did last year when he led the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's
You
definitely.
can't believe in that.
He's definitely
Too
not.
much.
Dynasty question: do you do any of the rookie tight ends besides Kincaid intrigue you? Yeah, I mean, Laporta's in a position to get overfed because they're lacking at wide receiver 2 while JMO is on suspension. So he should be fed in an unusual way, just like Kincaid. Usually rookie tight ends come along slowly, but both these guys should be fed a lot. So Kincaid to the moon, put Laporta to the moon. 4 rookies, respectively. For rookies, they should do very, very well. Punch that thumb up button. Travis is right. Only 69 thumbs up, and we got 130 people in here. Punch that thumb up button. We got Veda on the line. Marty, I'll get to you in 1 second. Veda is a Mars man, so Veda gets immediate assistance. Veda, appreciate you. You, Ron, you guys are both Mars men on here.
So I'm wondering about the Rams situation and the value that could be had there. Assuming I've heard nothing to say that Stafford shouldn't be 100% healthy. They have a bad defense. I'm wondering what you know about his health, 1, and 2. Is that offensive line such a mess that maybe I'm a little too optimistic about the situation? I mean, great offensive coach.
Who was the player again?
Like the value.
Who was the player again? I'm sorry, it cut
Stafford.
out. Stafford. Oh. Yeah, bro, I'm sorry to say this, and I could be wrong, so, take it with a grain of salt, but I have a bad feeling about Stafford. There was word that they tried to trade him. They tried to get rid of him. They didn't really want him there anymore. They weren't sure if he was going to come back. We weren't sure his status all offseason long. Is he going to retire? Does he still have it left? Is he going to be healthy? And then he just kind of shows up, and the team's like, okay, I guess we're rolling with him. It was kind of like the Jimmy G situation in San Francisco. The team wanted to get rid of Jimmy G. They said goodbye to him. Jimmy G actually had a goodbye speech in the press conference. They didn't give him a playbook. He was not allowed on the field. He was just walking the sidelines, trying to get rid of him via trade. And so I feel it very similar about Stafford. They wanted to get rid of him. Stetson Bennett is the future. And are you a Rams fan, Veda?
No. I'm a Lions fan, unfortunately.
Oh, no, don't be unfortunate. You're not unfortunate. Bro, it's the times now. The Lions are going to rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long 40 years.
This is your year.
I think, they've said, but yeah, I didn't know they were trying to get rid of him, so that changes things. Is the offensive line, what's the deal there? Is it total garbage? Is it going to be, I think it was beat up last year, so if it's healthy, can we expect some decent protection at least if he can play?
Well, here, let me finish my thoughts on Stafford. So is there a shot that he comes in and they need him to feed Cooper Kupp because that relationship is the only thing Cooper Kupp's value is known? This is why everyone says, and this is a great question by Vamp, very timely. Everyone wants to know why I'm a little down on Cooper Kupp or why I'm a little skeptical. And it's like, is that Bruce? What's that sound? Is that you, Brucey?
Yeah. Not me.
Oh. It's okay, whoever it was. I was just curious. Just curious if someone's getting some ice. Sound like an ice machine. Marty? Is that you, Marty?
Sorry, man. I might have muted you or something.
No, that's fine. Is that you, Marty?
I did mute you. But
what were you getting? Were you getting ice? I just want to know what it was. I'm just always curious.
No, I hit the mute button.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'm back now.
I'm just curious. Okay.
My bad.
No, you're fine. Marty, hang tight. You're almost up. I got Marty coming in hot in a second. Marty, get your question ready. We're going to do it live. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Cooper Kupp has only known Stafford, right? And so we got to hope Stetson Bennett knows how to feed this man. And I really, really like Stetson Bennett, but it's going to take him some time. Keep in mind that what did Joe Burrow look like his rookie year? Not the greatest, but you saw flashes of what was coming. There were, like I've said before, there were many times where Joe Burrow throw an interception, and I said to myself, that was a great pass. It was an INT. And I'm like, I just have a feeling about this guy. Like, even when he played, shoddy. And it was a big prospect. It wasn't like he was coming out of nowhere, but you could tell. You could say this guy's commanding things. He's getting hit left and right. He's getting hurried. He's getting passes are getting batted. A lot of INTs from that. but you knew it was coming. I'm not saying Stetson Bennett's the next Joe Burrow, but I'm saying that when I see this kid, I really think there's an opportunity here, and maybe he's choppy though, but he could be the better quarterback by midseason. He could be the guy in the lineup playing better football than Stafford. But you never know, man. You never know. And for Cooper Kupp owners, you don't want Stetson Bennett in there. You want Stafford playing healthy football and just force feeding Cooper Kupp. But Cooper Kupp is a big concern for me. The guy's had just the 2,000-yard seasons. You know, he's only had the one huge year, and last year it doesn't count because he didn't play the whole year. It doesn't matter if he was averaging more points than any wide receiver per start. There's still concern that he has only had 2,000-yard seasons in his career, one of which was an 1,100-yard season, and the other was his Triple Crown season. He's 30 years old, and there's big concern there. That's why I take Bijan over him 10 times out of 10. I just don't. I'm not saying I don't like Cooper Kupp. I'm not saying he's a bust, but he's somebody that I'm going to be a little skeptical of, especially pushing as a 3 or 4 overall pick. You know, like if he fell to 12, would I take him? Absolutely. Like it's a whole different value. That's like double the value. You know, you're getting back. If he's going 4 and you get him at 8, that's double. That's a much. It doesn't matter if it's still first round. It's literally double the amount of picks down the draft board. So it's like there's a big difference between Cooper Kupp going 4 and going 8. But bro, your Lions are going to explode. Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon. Goff's going to have a really underrated, amazing year that people are going to reflect back on and think kind of Geno Smith. You know, like Geno last year, Tua last year. I think Goff's going to get that kind of, and he kind of did last year too, anyway. But Goff's going to have a huge year. Laporta's looking good.
I am excited about the Lions. I can't lie; they're sucking me back in. But
yeah, for sure.
What about that Rams offensive line? What do you think about them? What's the prognosis there?
I don't know, man. I don't know. What was that? What was that? Was that a fart sound to like say that the offensive line is going to be bad? I'm trying to get who's making the noises on the phone line.
Somebody's dropping deuces on us.
It sounded like a shart, to be honest. Marty, is that you? Marty, come on.
That was not me, Smitty. No.
Was that Ron? Ron, was that you?
Bingo.
Okay, what's up, Ron?
Not the first one, but that last one.
The last one was you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Rams offensive line, did you want to weigh in on that? Is that why you dropped a deuce live?
Yeah, the Rams offensive line, I just couldn't resist.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to be. I don't know that the Rams are going to look good. I don't know, and I'm not buying Akers, not at cost. I mean, let me look at where Akers is going before I open my mouth, I guess, on it. I would say so. Akers is going 65. That's not bad value, but am I taking Pierce over him? Yes. Am I taking Pacheco over him? Yes. Am I taking Swift over Akers? I am. So like I'm looking at across the board. I can't envision, and this is why I own 0% of Akers. I don't think I have Akers on one of my best ball teams, hundreds and hundreds of teams, because every single time I easily get 2 of Pacheco, Swift, Pierce, or JK. They're like 2 of those guys are always available when JK is going off the board. So no Akers for me. Marty, you're live.
Smitty.
Hang tight.
What's up?
Veda, hang tight. Hey, Veda, you said you wanted to take Miss Smitty on out for a drink. I don't know if she's going to be around during the live stream, so we'll have to see. But you're certainly welcome to bring your boy Smitty some wings or I don't know. I don't know that I'll be drinking on the show or anything, but nice cold Coke. Any of those things work. Veda, no pressure whatsoever. But
I got you. Is there any problem? Like, are we allowed, if we're not staying at Circa, to just come to the show? Like, is there any kind of entrance?
I don't know. I don't see why not. But hopefully not. To my knowledge, maybe there is some sort of pool entrance situation, but I don't know. Let me check on that. I'll try and announce that on the live stream tonight at midnight. Let me message Circa and ask him about that. That's a great question that I haven't looked into yet. Let me see. He's supposed to be setting me up. I don't think he's responded to me yet. Has he? Hold on. Oh, yes, he has. We can have you broadcast from the cabana at Stadium Swim on Friday. So I'll be at the cabana on Friday. Yes. Yes, sir. And let me ask him real quickly. Also, are people that aren't staying at the hotel going to have a problem getting in to the poolside during the event? ? Okay, let's see if he responds to that on the show.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Blackbeard's comment, but he did say that he was not going to be able to make it.
Who? Who did?
Blackbeard.
Oh, Blackbeard said he's not coming?
Right. He said he couldn't. In a comment earlier, he said he wasn't going to be able to make it, unfortunately.
Oh, man, that sucks. He was planning to go. Going to have a problem getting into... Hold on. Getting into... who else is going tomorrow? Getting into the poolside during the event. All right, let me send it to him. That was all jargled, but I want to make sure he gets it. Who else is going Friday to Circa, or Saturday is when the event actually is going down, but curious to know. Mixon is trash, says Isaac. So little production with so much opportunity. I don't know if I would categorize it as trash, but I would say he's definitely on the verge of collapse, and he better take a pay cut. And maybe the Bengals test him for a while, because we haven't heard anything on the restructure, and they said they want to get it done sooner than later. I think shots fired, to Mixon's camp, because they said that. Blackbeard, thank you for letting me know, but that sucks, man. I was hoping to hook up with you there, bro, and give you a bro fist. Appreciate you. You can make the next one. I don't know. Mixon's just for me. I could see the Bengals saying, you know what, we're moving on. We're moving on. We gave you enough time. Shots fired. They came out in the open publicly and said, we would like to get this done. And Mixon's just dragging his feet. And so wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals said, look, we gave you enough time. You're released. You're released. It's Chase Brown season. And then we move on from there. Let's go.
What happens if Tony keeps up this stuff and Kansas City don't deal with a lot of stuff from people. So what happens if they're like, okay, you're gone, and then they bring in Hopkins?
I mean, that's what they should be doing. If I was KC, and I don't want him to do this, but if I was KC, I would bring him in right now because of the question marks around the entire situation. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe some of this stuff is old too, or not all of it, but some of it. Maybe some of this is faked and fabricated. You know how AI is crazy right now, so we don't know what in the heck's real and what's not. So I'm a little skeptical to assume that all this Kadarius Toney stuff is true. And some of it might be. Some of it might have triggered some fake, audio messages or whatever. But some of these audio messages are crazy. But I don't know that the team's going to, he's going back and forth with fans, and I'll maybe do a live stream on it, but he's going a little nuts in some of the audio messages that people are sharing. It's he's just cursing people out, saying all this crazy stuff. So we'll see. Hey, Marty, did you talk yet?
No, what's up, Smitty?
I'm sorry. I was like, Marty, you're up, and then I interrupted him. Go ahead, Marty.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question about rookie wide receivers. Who's going to be number one? I hear a lot of talk about Addison, but there's JSN, and there's another one, Quentin Johnson. His situation in the Chargers might be pretty good.
Yeah. See, I don't love this wide receiver class as much as previous years. Obviously, the sophomore class is amazing, but even Dotson and London and Watson, they had such good rookie years that we're ranking them to the moon. And some of them, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. So it's not like rookie wide receivers are guaranteed to be 1,300 yard, 10 TD wide receivers. We've been spoiled with Jamar Chase and JJ, and none of these guys are those guys. None of them. unfortunately. JSN is like a broken off piece of one of those guys in like one skill set like category of his talent, you know. Like he's an amazing route runner, but he can be chased down. He doesn't have crazy speed. Not that Jerry Rice was fast. Jerry Rice wasn't fast. So it's not like you have to have that. But I don't know that JSN's he's got the ability to be a top 12 wide receiver in the National Football League. That's a compliment. I think Addison could be as well. Let's say something happened, God forbid, to one of the bigger options there in Minnesota. I think he could flourish in a scenario. Same thing with JSN. If Lockett goes down and Lockett's getting older and that guy refuses to take a hit, and you could say it's smart for him, but you also wonder what's wrong with him. Like, does he have concussion concerns? Like, why is Lockett? He catches the ball, and if guys are coming in on him, he flops down like he loses his balance. Somebody called it out to me one time. They said, watch Lockett. He will never get tackled. And I'm like, well, he's older. He's probably just avoiding tackles. So they go, no, watch Lockett. He will not get tackled. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. Realizing he's older. He's probably just running out of bounds. Every single time, bro acts like he slips. He catches the ball and just flops forward. It's crazy. So, like, yeah, it's weird. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every time he catches the ball, you're like, he's going to flop. He's going to flop on the ground. And part of me is just like, when is this guy going to break? I don't know. So, if let's say Lockett got injured or something, JSN would go to the moon. Moon being, top 12 wide receiver potential. Flowers is, I've gone back and forth on JSN and Flowers being the most physically gifted across the board for me, wide receivers, but I don't know how he's going to mesh with Lamar. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if any one of Addison, Flowers, or JSN. I don't think Quentin Johnson, because I think he's too raw. I think he maybe develops him by the end of the year. You get a flash of what is to come. I don't think he's going to show that mid-season where these other guys are more polished, in my opinion. And but I could be wrong on that. He could be, let's say Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, both injury prone. I think they played together like 3 or 4 games last year together. Both these guys were out like just constantly the whole year. Maybe Quentin Johnson gets force-fed, bro. Feet to the fire, he develops. So I'm not saying it's not possible. Yeah, not saying it's not possible. But Flowers, to me, if you're forcing me to pick, bro, I would say Flowers has the best season.
You like Mingo and who else? The Giants
Tank Dell.
guy?
Tank Dell's one of my favorites. Tank Dell.
Oh, yeah.
But he's kind of like, I don't want to be saying he's the number one. You got to leave some room for expectation, because if I say he's the number one wide receiver, everyone's going to draft him in like the 8th round or something. Like, Tank Dell's got the ability to be a top 5 rookie wide receiver, top 2, top 3 rookie wide receiver. Absolutely no question about it. But I do believe that Flowers is special. I like his landing spot. I just don't love it. So the ultimate answer is this is not the same class as last year, bro.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
That boy OD gifted 5 memberships, Smitty.
Did he? Oh, there he is.
Thanks, Smitty.
That boy.
Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, appreciate it. You can stay on the line if you want. Corey, you're live. But let me do a standing ovation real quickly for that boy OD who dropped it and I didn't see it, so he's getting it. Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, that boy. Corey, what can I do for you, Corey?
What's up? So I wanted to know, how do you determine like the ceiling and the floor of a player?
With my eyeball.
Well, yeah, but how do you do you base it off like last season? How do you for Odell? Like what is his ceiling and floor and?
Yeah, so for me, bro, everything is case. Like, this is probably the most true thing you'll ever hear from me. Everything is case by case. Everything, So like, if you look at a player like a rookie receiver, maybe his situation overpowers his readiness or his skill set. Maybe someone's skill set or readiness overpowers, and vice versa. Kind of like nature versus nurture in psychology, bro. Why is the violent criminal a criminal? Is it because of his nature? because he was born a criminal, or was it his nurture? He was neglected, treated wrong, mistreated, and he became a violent person. Or is it a combination? And which one's stronger? Like, haven't you ever met somebody that should? Have you ever met somebody in your life that should be poor and just down and out? It should be like a nothing in their life, but they came from nothing, but they're amazingly successful. And you're like, how in the hell did they do that? They came from the worst nature possible. Then you see someone who comes from great nature, they're raised as a millionaire or whatever, and they're a horrible person because they weren't nurtured. Like, it's so hard to know. Same thing with fantasy, situation versus talent, same concept. Like, how much talent can overwhelm situation? How much situation can overwhelm talent? Was Arian Foster really as good as he was in Houston? The unfortunate truth is he was not the most elite player to play the running back position ever. He was a very good running back that was in an amazing situation. Was Priest Holmes really as good as he was, like, anywhere, or was it a great marriage of situation and talent? It was like an equal part, in my opinion. You know, Emmitt Smith was amazing. I'm not trying to take away anything from Emmitt Smith, but Barry Sanders versus Emmitt Smith, who was more talented? You know, like, and so there's so many ways to look at this, but like in the case of, you said Odell.
Yeah, Odell or just anybody specifically. Like, doesn't have to be a specific person, but you go based off like the offense that they're on or the talent from last year.
So what I'm saying is every player is completely different. Like, you can't. There's no formula. There's no this is why it drives me nuts. These stat sheet Stevens or these Excel Erics out there that just say the Matrix say if his breakout year is young enough and he's had 800 yards in his first year, he's 67% likely to be a rock. You know, like these spreadsheet Erics, like, so many things got to go into that. Like, every time, and you don't even do this. Every one of us does this. We just subconsciously do it. You look at a player like, let's say, Breece Hall. He has an ACL tear. Well, so does Javonte. If we were going to use blanket, theory on what player is going to do well and why because of ACL tears, we would probably miss out on the Adrian Peterson breakout. We would probably, if we're just going to say Adrian Peterson did it, so that means that J.K. Dobbins will do it or Barkley will do it, when their situations were completely different and they didn't look ready. So in the case of Odell, what do we have in front of us? We have a very talented player that if we were basing off talent, we'd say he's going to blow up. He's going to blow up. This guy's still one of the most gifted players in some ways in the league, but his injury history is clear as day. This guy's going to break. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a car you love that you know is going to break down no matter what, and it continues to break. It's just a lemon. He's a lemon. He's a lemon. His body is past the point where it can endure a 17-game beating. You know what I mean? Like, something's going to give out, and his body doesn't know how to play at a different speed. So he's going to tear something. He's going to rip something. He's going to tear his ACLs. I don't even know how you can have as many surgeries and injuries as he's had and get to the point where he looks really good. Like, when I see Odell on the field, I'm like, God, this guy looks quick. Like, how does he look so good on the field? So I get caught up in that too when I see Odell practicing. But, I mean, bro, the situation is decent, but the man's body is just not built to last. But
I might need a book.
You what?
I might need to book a fantasy call with you when my draft comes up, because I have the 9th pick in a 12-team league. I want to know who I should, maybe Bijan if he's there at 9, or Kelsey or Josh Jacobs. I don't know. I don't really know if reaching on Josh Jacobs, is that a reach at 9 for Jacobs?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you follow my content. I could be wrong. Make sure you trust your gut. I don't like Jacobs. I think Jacobs is a bad second-round pick.
You don't like Jacobs?
No, man. He's got Jimmy G throwing the rock. He's got potentially one of the worst offenses in the National Football League walking into 2023.
He was the number 3 running back.
Last year doesn't matter. Last year is like, this is a whole different ballgame. You have Derek Carr, a field stretcher, off the team right now. You got Jimmy G, who can't throw downfield.
Jimmy G's an upgrade.
No, I don't. I disagree 100,000%, bro. Jimmy G is one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League. He lived in an environment where his coach was able to mask his deficiencies and build an offense that, when he was successful over the last couple of years, it was to Deebo Samuel at the line of scrimmage. Deebo, take the football, design plays. Deebo, take the football, and he didn't organize or orchestrate. He ran the offense. He can run an offense. He just doesn't have the talent or ability to facilitate the football down the field. Not to mention, Jacobs is likely to hit 8-man front after 8-man front as teams force Jimmy G to try and prove that he can throw down the field. Let me ask you a question also. Has Josh Jacobs signed his franchise tag?
Did he?
No, he's not. So. Do you know what he said when they franchise tagged, or when they were going to franchise tag him? That he would sign it.
No,
he said if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, or his exact phrase was, you bring in a reload, like you go after a championship, and I'll sign the franchise tag and play on the tag. But if you don't address that position, then I'm not signing the tag. What did Jacobs do? He's not signing the tag. So that should tell you right there how much.
You think it could be the same situation with like Saquon, because you said he might sit out?
Saquon just wants to get paid. He wants to be in New York. He likes New York. He likes Danny Dimes. He likes the offense. He likes Dable. Saquon's not in a position where, he's not in a position where he's like disgruntled about the team or the direction of the team. I think he's very happy with the direction of the team. It's more so he just wants to get paid. He said, I don't want to. I mean, he's been very vocal about it and very, very calm. And he said things, very smart things. He's a very astute, smart guy. Saquon's a very, I would say, wise player. And he says, I don't want to set the market. I understand what my running back market value is. I don't want to break franchise records. I want to get paid appropriately for what I'm doing on the field. And I'm at a point in my career where I need to go for that 2-3 year deal now. So that's all he's saying.
Are you high on a player like Nick Chubb, or maybe in the second round or early second round?
Nick Chubb, I think, is a good second round pick, but not in every league, because I have concerns about the offense, and I have concerns about Nick Chubb just at some point breaking on my dime. But it doesn't mean I don't take him in the second round with a smile in 1 out of 10 leagues. So I do like him. It's just I don't want to oversaturate my exposure. But I would say Corey, real quickly, back to the Josh Jacobs thing. Jacobs did not sign his franchise tag because he's unhappy with the choice of quarterback. Devontae Adams also said the exact same phrase. I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I don't have the quote in front of me, but if you reload, I want to be in Vegas. And what did Devontae Adams do when they signed Jimmy Garoppolo? He said he basically boycotted at first and said that this is not the direction he would have went in, that he doesn't agree with the direction of the team, but it is what it is, and he'll have to, I forget the exact wording, but he'll have to try and make it work. Neither of these guys are excited about playing with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not a field stretcher, and you have one of the worst defenses in the National Football League year after year after year after year, bro. And yes, they addressed some of that in the draft, and there's some optimism, I suppose, that the defense could be better. But then what do? They trade away Darren Waller, which I think pissed off Jacobs and Adams even more, because now there's more pressure and defensive focus on them. And yes, I like Mayer a lot, but he's a rookie playing with Jimmy Garoppolo, who guess where George Kittle's been the last couple of years? Sleeping on the offensive line, asleep and dormant like a bear, hibernating, not being used at all. Maybe pre-ACL Jimmy G could throw to George Kittle. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, who, might I also add, bro, showed up to the Raiders facility when they were going to announce Jimmy Garoppolo's signing and do the signing publicly and have a press conference. Showed up injured, so much so that he failed the physical, and they said, we can't sign the contract today. And they had celebrate Jimmy G Day without Jimmy G there. And so they had to change the press conference. It couldn't have been about Jimmy G anymore. They went back to the table and they said, you no longer get your salary or your bonus. We're taking your bonus away and we're putting it into salary, and you've got to pass your physical or we're going to release you with no repercussions or any money owed to you whatsoever. So the Raiders are already fed up with them, bro. So there's not one argument in favor of Jimmy G coming in, and I'm sorry, I hate to hit you with all this, but he is a disaster waiting to happen. He can't stay healthy. He can't throw the football down the field. He no longer has Shanahan masking his deficiencies, and they have to literally turn Davante Adams into Deebo Samuel at the line of scrimmage, or this isn't going to work. And you know what's going to happen? One, if not
So
both.
you think it's going to be a Zamir White, hold on to Zamir White, you think?
I don't know, but let me just say this. One, if not both. I don't like the offense, so I don't like Zamir White. You don't like anybody. This unless Jimmy G gets replaced and they bring in Wentz, who is similar to Carr in that he's just going to throw the ball down the field, which is great. That could help Adams maybe get some garbage time and all that. But I'm telling you this right now. If Jimmy Garoppolo stays under center, somehow, some way doesn't get injured, and this team keeps losing, they'll turn to the rookie. They'll do whatever, O'Connell or whatever his name is. They'll turn to the rookie. But here's the catch, bro. Here's the catch. Out of any, and I've said this before on a bunch of different live streams, out of any players in the National Football League that have the potential to get injured like Cooper Kupp did last year and like Lamar did, where they're looking out for their future and they sit out the remainder of the season after getting banged up, it would be Jacobs and Davante Adams. Because if this team has 3 or 4 wins by week 10, 11, and one of them gets banged up trying to carry this entire team on their back, guess what one or both of them is going to do? I'm going to go ahead and sit out the remainder of the season because Jacobs is on a franchise tag, and Jacobs doesn't want to get injured while he's trying to carry a team on its back for nothing. They're not going anywhere. They're not making the playoffs. Why in the hell would Jacobs play even with a hangnail? You know, walking into a contract year for him. And Adams, you know, he's going to be wanting and pushing for a trade in the offseason, no doubt about it, if that doesn't happen in the middle of the season, which would be good for his value, and there could be some resurgence. And Adams has at least hope. I don't think Jacobs does. I think you see an 8-man front to the point where he gets injured or just looks awful and it doesn't get the contract he wants because he played bad football in a bad situation. And Adams, his only hope is that the quarterback situation changes, and then all of a sudden Adams gets on the feet, or Adams gets a quarterback that's capable of throwing the football to him on the field. Thank you, that boy.
You think it's good to just avoid the whole offense in general in fantasy?
At cost, yeah. If the cost, I mean, you said first rounder for Jacobs, I about lost my mind. You know, he's not even a good, second round pick to me. So first rounder would be just a debacle.
So what made him the top 3 running back though in fantasy? Was it the offensive line?
Well, you had a completely different situation. You had Josh Jacobs running the ball well with room to run as Derek Carr spread the field and laser locked on Davante Adams like Aaron Rodgers did. That's why Olave is so special in New Orleans in 2023, because he's being handed a guy that the Raiders miscalculated and misjudged and made him the scapegoat when it was the defense, which is why Aaron Rodgers didn't go to the Raiders, because it would have just ended disastrously. It would have been good for Adams, but it would have been a horrible outcome for Aaron Rodgers because you can't win with the bottom 2 or 3 defense in the league, giving you horrible field position time and time again in a Raiders system that I just don't have faith in. And Jacobs is going to hit, like I said, a whole different, defensive scheme every single time he gets on the field versus last year. Without Carr stretching the field with Davante Adams, the defense is going to be stacking the box against Jacobs and Jimmy Garoppolo, because Jimmy Garoppolo does not scare anybody. This guy's a quick release artist for a reason, because he doesn't go through his progressions and go down the progression tree and hit his 3rd and 4th and 5th option. It's first read Jimmy for a reason, bro, because he doesn't, the longer he stays in the pocket, the more likely he's getting injured, fumbling the ball, throwing an interception, or just getting rattled to the point where the whole play is going to collapse. He's not a guy that extends a play. You cannot get Davante Adams in the mode that Derek Carr had him in last year, which was 100 receptions, 14 touchdowns, and I think it was 1,300 plus yards, right? 1,350 or whatever it was. You're not going to get him even sniffing those numbers with Jimmy Garoppolo not able to extend a play and get him downfield. He's going to have to pepper him with targets and make him a short yardage monster. And I don't know that the offense is going to be able to be successful doing that, because if it was that easy, other teams would replicate Deebo Samuel's role because it was dominating. But you look back at Jimmy's numbers, who was dominating, Jimmy or was it Deebo? Because Jimmy didn't really do much but deliver the ball to him at the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was usually, yeah.
So trust your gut. I don't mean to talk you out of every one of the scenarios you brought up, but I'm just trying to give you my gut feeling on it, bro.
Somebody said you've been hating Jacobs for years in the chat.
Well, I mean, there's a reason that I've ripped on him before, because he's threatened to fight his own fan base, and he's given out the stadium address and said meet him at the stadium to about 4 or 5 people on Twitter and on Instagram. So I went at him one time, and I'm objective. Like, I've admitted that, like, he's got to earn my trust back from that mental state perspective. But, I mean, look, I don't think anybody saw him delivering the numbers he delivered last year, but Carr was a big reason why. And this goes to why you might like Kendre Miller and the Alvin Kamara situation more than you probably maybe do on its face, because Derek Carr creates a good little system. There's a lot of production that's going to come from that New Orleans offense. Whether they win or lose, maybe Carr's crutch is that he can't win big games. He can't actually do much with it. But New Orleans has a better defense than the Raiders by a mile. This is a top 10 defense that Derek Carr is being handed. He's got a receiver that led the entire National Football League in air yards during the entire time Jameis Winston was under center. And Jameis Winston and Derek Carr could be they could be comped in terms of their ability to throw downfield. That's Derek Carr's specialty. So this offense is going to move the football much like everybody's been expecting for years, and Olave is going to get fed. Olave could lead the league in air yards on the season by a mile. Because he was already...
Thomas?
Olave.
You don't think Michael Thomas?
Corey, you've been missing for a while, which is fine. You're getting back into football, and not everybody's here 365 days a year, but we're going over players that we talk about on the daily.
Yeah, I've been also watching Fantasy Couch's podcast.
Yeah, well, I think that you're not going to get what you want out of Michael Thomas, bro. Look at the injury history. Look at the injury history. Look at the injury history and tell me, as Ron said the other day to a caller that called in that told me that Michael Thomas is the pick and how could I like Olave over him when Olave's going in the 2nd or 3rd round? Michael Thomas is going in 9 or 10 or wherever. And you could come in and argue, if this guy did and he didn't, you could come in here and argue in a sane fashion, but one I disagree with. Hey, Smitty, at cost of entry, I like Michael Thomas better than Olave in round 2. You know what I'd say? Okay. I understand it. I disagree with you, but I understand it. This guy came in and said, who would you rather have, Olave or Mike Thomas? I said, Olave. Why? And he went off his rocker on it. And bro, as Ron said after I argued with the guy to the end of the moon, and the guy got destroyed on the live stream, by the way, Ron comes in and says to him, I think Ron said, Ron, what did you say to him when he said it's because of the quarterback? What was it you said to him? And he's like, is this because of the quarterback? It wasn't because of the quarterback. He wasn't on the field.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the field in the last 3 years. I mean, he missed one entire season. The last 2 seasons, he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He hasn't done nothing.
Yeah, so when someone says, well, it was he said something, it was the quarterback issue is why Michael Thomas is. No, he hasn't played for 3 years. Michael Thomas isn't even healthy now. He's not even healthy now.
So you think Michael Thomas' situation is going to be better with Derek Carr?
I think if he can stay healthy, which is the problem, bro, that Michael Thomas could be efficient. Is he ever going to return to his old self? I think absolutely not. There's just no precedent for it to be out this amount of time, to have this big of an injury risk to your name, to be out for literally 3 years, to come back and what? You're supposed to just get rid of ankle issues, knee issues, foot issues. This guy is a potential, 3 or 4 or 5 played game player at best before you start saying, okay, what would the Vegas line be on number of games played? My guess is 6, and that might even be optimistic. And even if he does play, bro, the bottom line is it's Olave season. Olave's the better talent. Olave's a top 5 to 7 wide receiver in the National Football League in pretty much every category, I think, walking into 2023. He's an air yard master. Derek Carr's an air yard giver, and he's going to laser lock on the guy that goes downfield so he can zip it like Denny says. Carr is going to gravitate to Olave. And I don't care if someone says that MT's catching 4-yard passes from Derek Carr in practice like a gem. Like, I could care less about what's happening in shorts and what's going on. What matters is what's going on and what's happened in the past and what Olave looked like when he led the entire National Football League by a country mile in air yards. Every wide receiver in the league he was blowing out of the water when he had a gunslinging quarterback. Good or bad, he was a gunslinger. And Jameson Winston, it was like, oh, I'm just throwing it up there. He's over there somewhere. That was what Winston did. Carr does that too, and Carr does it more accurate. Carr will deliver the touchdowns too. Olave feels to me like a 10-plus touchdown lock if he plays even 15, 16 games. Feels like a 1,400 lock and 90-plus receptions. Mike Thomas is a shell of himself.
Olave ranked as wide receivers? Where do you have him ranked?
In the second round. All right, hold on. Let me, Corey, you are like a gumball machine. One question just comes out right after the other one's not even done answered. But hold on, Corey. I appreciate you. I like having you on. Good communication. But I got to get to Frankie real quick before Frankie has to go to bed. Hold on, Frankie.
Hey, really quick. Isn't the time almost up for these guys on the franchise tag to negotiate? Is that coming up within a week?
The 17th. Is the last day that Jacobs or Barkley or anybody can get extended, or not extended, negotiate a new deal. The moment July 17th, I don't know if it's at midnight turning July 17th, I believe it is. It usually is July 15th, but because of the weekend and everything and the way that the day falls, it's the 17th. On the 17th, if Barkley doesn't have, Frankie, can you mute for a second? I know I told you were up and then yeah. Sorry. Hang tight. Scuba, hang tight. I'll come to you in a second. The moment that it strikes, I guess midnight, I'm not sure on the exact time or if it's 4 p.m. or whatever it is. The moment the 17th deadline approaches, Barkley is locked into a 1-year deal at the 10+ million. Jacobs is locked into the 1-year deal at about 10+ million. And they can no longer, neither side, negotiate a new deal. That is their contract. They are locked in the entire season on a 1-year contract with no ability to do a new deal. So everybody thinks that Barkley's going to hold out. The reason Barkley's holding out now is he's got little time left before that deadline comes, and he has no negotiating power once the 17th comes. Once the 17th comes, he's obligated, whether he signs it or not, to the 1-year, $10+ million deal. And there's no ability for the team to even do anything anymore. If the Giants can no longer actually give him a long-term deal because it's removed from the equation, then he has nothing to even ask the team for. So Barkley on the 17th has to decide, do I punish them for not giving me the long-term deal because they can no longer do it? They can't, even if they wanted to. He's stuck on 1 year on the franchise tag. Then what's Barkley going to do? Punish them by holding out and punish himself? So he's coming back. Barkley's there. The question is, does Tony Pollard he signed the franchise tag gladly. Does Tony Pollard get extended before the 17th? Does Barkley get his contract before the 17th? And does Jacobs show up? Or does Jacobs so pissed off he doesn't show up? I think all three, obviously Pollard's already showed up and signed. I think all three are playing 2023 without any sort of hesitation or holdout. There's nothing to hold out for anymore if you're Barkley. Nothing. The only thing they could do is release him back into free agency, but they'd have to do that, I believe, before the 17th, because on the 17th, that becomes his contract. So it's crazy, bro. Hang tight. Let me go over to Frankie Knuckles real quick. Frankie, you're live, and then Corey, I'll come back to you, and then Scuba's next. Corey,
What's up,
Frankie.
Smitty?
That's all right. What's up, Frankie?
I wanted to ask you what you thought about this up-and-coming Quentin Johnston. You like him more than JSN?
I mean, we just talked about this a second ago, but Quentin Johnston's
really?
Yeah, it's okay. Quentin Johnston's raw. He's walking into a situation that is not ideal. I got 7 minutes to do the cat. So, by the way, guys, I need to do the cat. If you ate already, I'm not eating. Never mind. Just thinking chips and queso sounded good. All right, that's from Miss Mitty. So it looks like I'm going to Torchy's tonight. Torchy's it is. Torchy's it is. Okay, so I got to do the cat in 6 minutes, and I'll have to put the callers on hold for a second. You guys can chat in between, and we'll put a little music up, and we'll time how long it takes me to do the cat. I got to give him his insulin injection. Quentin Johnston worries me because, I mean, it doesn't worry me. It depends where you have to get him. But he's the third wide receiver in an offense where the number one target monster is the running back. So technically speaking, he's the fourth option in an offense that's changing, that should be pretty aggressive, but it's changing. We don't know how it's going to go. The quarterback faltered last year, was injured. We got to cut him some slack. I like Herbert, but there's a lot of moving parts here. And I think, Ron, I think you've said this before, they didn't have the draft that you kind of hoped that they would have. Quentin Johnston was a good addition. They needed to get a wide receiver. It was going to be reckless of them to not address the wide receiver position. They did do it. But with the potential of Eckler maybe hitting a wall at some point, I think everything revolves around Eckler. I mean, I guess you could say that if Eckler did drop off and they had to throw and play from behind, maybe Quentin Johnston would get a lot of garbage time. So there's definitely that potential.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to draft Charbonnet, and they just didn't do it for whatever reason. I mean, they could have got Charbonnet. They probably could have got same time, both of them, but they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston, he's too passive. He's huge. He's a guy, but he doesn't know how to use his body. He doesn't know how to fight for the ball. He's too passive. Now, hopefully that he can be coached up and coached out of that, but that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, I think there's a lot of upside, but I think, Ron has said this too. When I watched him on film, bro, and this came from me before his landing spot. So this is not like landing spot driven, bias or something. I talked about
he's definitely raw.
I talked about how much I like some of his skill set and his ability to get yards after the catch. I think he was the best receiver in the entire class, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on this. He was the best wide receiver in like yak yards after the catch by a lot. I don't think anybody was close to him. I think it was like a whole yard difference, and that's a big number at the end of the day. So when he would get the football, he would make yardage happen. Like he was good, but you also you got to ask about competition of play. Is it fair to even look at those numbers in that context? You got to look at when you watch him. He should be a better jump ball player than he is. Like he's a big boy, and I feel like he's weak in that department. I feel like he doesn't dominate space around him.
He catches with his body a lot, right?
Yeah, catches. He doesn't use his hands properly. He catches the ball into his chest instead of using any of his hands. So there's a lot of things he has to work on. He doesn't have, in my opinion, the best hands because he uses, like you said, his body. I just think there's a lot to fix. There's a lot to fix, and he doesn't look strong enough in the jump ball game given his size. So for now, I'm just wait and see. But I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just not like ready to put him in some kind of superior top 15 wide receiver class when the wide receivers are loaded. I'll take every single one of the sophomore wide receivers on the Moonman list over every single one of the rookies for the long term. Thank you, Frankie. Hang tight, Frankie. I'll come back to you. Scuba Steve. You have 2 minutes, and then I gotta go give the cat insulin, and I'm gonna put Smitty will be right back. Screen up in a second. So go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Smitty. So I want to ask you, how happy are you that you got Alvin Kamara where you got him at?
Frankie, can you put it on mute, bro? Hold on.
I got you.
Hold on. Frankie's always got the loudest backgrounds of anybody I've ever. we've ever had on this show. It's like, thank you, Frankie, for your question. Stay on hold. Frankie. All right, go ahead, Scuba. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
No, I was gonna say I saw the headline of your video about where Kamara's gonna shoot up draft board, so I have to go back and watch that. But I was just gonna ask you, how happy are you that you got him where you got him? Because I mean, if he does shoot up, and with this whole situation, if this is all it is, I mean, I'm sure you talked about it because I saw like he did go live twice. That I'm assuming that everybody's waiting for the NFL now to I guess be the judge on what's going to happen on them, because the NFL still has to decide if they're going to do a punishment or they're not going to do anything. But yeah, I just want to ask you about that.
I mean, I'm very, very excited about the draft value that I have. I've talked about this before in the two shows that we just did today. Hold on, I'm getting set. Okay, so we're going to start timing how fast I can give the cat his insulin shot. So right here is the timer.
Kind of like, it's hard to hear you now, Smitty. Something happened.
Hard to hear me?
Now it is. Yeah, it's like muffled.
When Smitty yelled, he messed up his mic.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you yelled. It didn't go back to normal.
Huh. My levels look good. Is everybody else hearing me loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now.
Okay.
The same thing that Ron was saying before. You sounded a little bit
It may
lower.
have been on Sky on the phone line only. I don't think for the show, but anyway, yeah. So bottom line is, I'm very, very excited about my Alvin Kamara shares, bro. Very, very, very excited, and I'm pretty much out at this point. I've got enough. I'm moving on. I'm moving on to Kendre Miller season. You know, because now Alvin Kamara is climbing into a ridiculous territory. So. Hang tight, gentlemen. I'm going to put you on mute. You can talk amongst each other. No problem whatsoever. But I'm going to be giving the cat his injection. We're going to keep track of how long it takes me to do it. I'm going to try and break my own record each time. So right now, you guys can talk on Skype. No one can hear you. Go. Yo. What's up, fellas? Okay, so 3:13:13. Look at that time. A little bit of a delay. Had to corral the cat. Had to get this food. I gotta feed him when I give him the injection. So he needs to be fed right after. So I had to feed him too. But 3 minutes and 13 seconds is the amount of time it took. That was the last time. That's the new record. All right, gentlemen. Let's go around the phone line here real quickly. Frankie Knuckles, what else you got, pal?
I wanted to ask Ron about Miles Sanders. If he likes him. I like him this year.
I think he does pretty good there. I mean, you had their running backs last year do rather well behind that line, and I think their line's still good, and I think he'll have some success this year. I think, he'll probably be a top, 12 to 15 back maybe.
Yeah, Sanders is tough for me. Here's another super by Isaac. Who plays more games, Jameson Williams or Kadarius Toney? That's a really good one. I mean, that just goes to show how risky Kadarius Toney is, but he's such a fun risk to take in like a few leagues, not every league. But I would say Kadarius Toney probably plays more, but I mean, boy. I mean, you just don't know, bro. You just don't know. They could play the exact same number of games. This question by, who was it?
He'll be acclimated more because Jameson Williams can't even be in the building until week 7.
Yeah. Victor says, why can't you come back with mock drafts and sleeper here in Brazil? I can't draft Underdog Fantasy. We will be doing sleeper mock drafts here in August. I think we could do a couple here in July. I know we don't mock draft a lot anymore, but it's so much better to do a live draft, and I know some of you can't do it, and that sucks, and I'm sorry about that, but we will be doing some mock drafts going forward in August to prepare everybody for their draft, because not everything's about best ball. So I want to make sure we do that. The only reason we haven't done it more than normal, Victor, or done like a split, is because the ADP data's been garbage. It's been awful. Mock drafting's been just a big waste of time on Sleeper because the ADP is garbage. But, I assume it's been updated since the last time we tried it. We'll go in there. Maybe Thursday we'll do a mock draft. We'll do a draft and then a mock draft on Thursday. Maybe we'll try and do that on Friday and Saturday as well. But I appreciate you either way, Victor. But I'm sorry we haven't done a lot of that. Yeah, Sanders I'm not super high on. I'm just not. It doesn't mean that I don't think he could do well.
But you're high on Swift.
Yeah, but the cost is a little different too, though. Where's Sanders going? Or they run
Miles Sanders had 1,200 yards last year.
No, I know. No, I know.
19 touchdowns.
I mean, like I said, it just comes down to like cost. Let me see. Miles Sanders is going at 60.
You don't trip and fall into that.
But he's also been disappointing before, and so I don't think it's that crazy to assume that he won't hold up. Call it preference at that point. 63 overall is where Madison kind of is. I'd rather have Dameon Pierce. Swift is at about 80 overall.
You could get Miles Sanders later.
Pacheco's at 82 overall. I'd rather have Pacheco over Sanders all day long. And I cuff him to McKinnon.
Really?
Yeah, and I cuff him to McKinnon, and I feel like that's a home run.
He's in a committee, Smitty.
Pacheco? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
He's not catching the balls there. Miles Sanders is.
I think Pacheco's going to ball, bro. If you take Pacheco and McKinnon,
Miles Sanders all day long.
If you take Pacheco and you take McKinnon and you take Clyde Edwards-Helaire and you look at just the times that they were each the starter, and it was very evident who was the starter, that's a top 6 running back. It's an offense that's amazing. I'll take Pacheco all day long, who I believe is going to have a good shot at a 90, 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown every game. Like, the guy's going to be an absolute monster. I'm not saying he gets 17 touchdowns. I'm just saying he has a great shot at a touchdown every game, and he could easily get over 100 total yards. Nor do I think he won't catch any passes. I think maybe
touchdowns did he have last year?
Miles Sanders. But I don't think you're hearing me. It's the combination of it's cuffing McKinnon and Pacheco together that's going to secure you up what I believe will be a much better running back overall. But on top of that, you can't really blame Pacheco for a late unleashing. He wasn't the starter until.
I like Pacheco. I just don't think he's going to get as much volume.
He wasn't the starter. He wasn't the starter. He wasn't the starter.
It's about volume. It's not about opportunity.
Well, you can believe in Sanders if you want. I don't think it's a crazy take, but I see Sanders as more of a risk. But that's me. I understand. It's a new system for him. He's been disappointing before. Granted, he's in a new environment, so maybe that's part of how the Eagles used him, which could concern you about how the Eagles may use Swift. But I'm not arguing Swift versus Sanders. I can understand that. But Pacheco, Dameon Pierce, I take Dameon Pierce over Miles Sanders all day.
I remember.
Yeah, but I think Houston is like they're bum rushing Houston. All the running backs of yesterday are bum rushing that town.
What do you mean?
Dameon Pierce, if he gets a little bit chipped up.
What do you mean? What makes
you could be watching Singletary?
What makes you say that though? Like, what evidence do you have of that? What makes you think
he got hurt last year? I had Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, but what makes you think he's going to lose his job? They love him there.
They signed 2 running backs, dude.
Yeah, You're worried about Singletary?
They signed Singletary and another guy.
I'm not worried about Singletary.
Yeah, but no. Pierce will be all right. He hit a rookie wall last year, and a lot of rookies do.
Yeah.
But on Sanders, though, I mean, people have a problem the year before when he got 0 touchdowns and all that, but last year, and I was betting on him and pick'ems and stuff like that. I mean, he was getting fed like crazy, 18 to 20 something carries per game.
I don't.
He only had like 26 catches last year. But that's because Philadelphia doesn't throw to the running back.
Yeah, but
Bryce Young.
But here's,
however, is going to dump it off all day to Miles Sanders, dude.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is like you can say those
Every
things.
time
You can
he
say
panics, it's going to Miles Sanders, dude.
Yeah, you could say those things, but you got. I mean, we have to also account for the change in system. Will they lean on him fully? I think they'll try.
Yeah,
but will he hold up?
The coaches that went there, they've been with Miles Sanders. That's why they brought him over.
Yeah, we'll see if he holds up, bro.
Familiar.
I'm not saying
very familiar.
I'm not saying it won't work out in your favor if you go Miles Sanders over Pierce or Pacheco, but you're shocked by it is why I'm pushing back with you. Is I understand your take. I don't think it's a bad take. I disagree with it, but I don't think it's a bad take. But it seems like you're shocked that Pacheco and McKinnon might be a better option. I'm telling you, go look at it. The KC Chief running back, if you just took 16 or 17 starts, was like the number 6 or number 7, depending on the scoring, overall running back in fantasy football. I'll take that potent offense and Pacheco's hard, amazing running style, cuffing him to McKinnon at almost free value, and take that offensive potency over potentially a rookie quarterback quite but there's going to be a lot of ups and downs.
There's no way you're going to outvalue Miles Sanders and Blackshear.
What?
No way. I could get Blackshear the last pick of the draft, and that guy, and then I got the whole backfield locked down.
The thing is Pacheco's a better cost of entry in the 8th round than Sanders is in the 5th.
Yeah, you're talking about Pacheco.
That's the point that
yeah, and also
no, Miles Sanders is going later.
He's going at 63. I'm looking
he's going in the 5th round, and he's going in the 5th round.
I got him at 6.
Well, not everybody plays with grandmas.
An underdog baseball?
I'm in a massive league. I don't know what league you're in.
Well, are going to be different. But in best ball, he's going in the
Frankie. But I'm just saying the ADP is telling us that they're miles apart ADP.
Yeah, okay, Swift.
They're miles apart ADP wise, Frankie. So
you don't like Miles Sanders, but you like Swift, who's in Miles Sanders' old backfield. I'm taking it personal here that he's just kicking dirt on Miles Sanders.
Frankie, you're losing your mind. Frankie, you're losing your mind a little here.
You know that. But I mean, you just gotta let it go and take your guy. If Sanders is your guy, take your guy. Just like Addison's my guy, I'm going to take him all day long. Over, and I think Pickett is very talented. I mean, Pickens is a very talented receiver. I take him over Dotson all day long. But Smitty takes Dotson over Pickens. So I mean, you just got to live with it. Don't take it so bad.
Frankie's getting all upset.
All right,
Frankie, you're getting all upset over nothing.
No, I gotta eat, son.
Yeah, you go get some food, bro. Go get some food and come back. I don't think you're hearing me.
I think Sanders is going to have a good. I agree with you as far as that goes, Frankie. It's just Smitty has a different take. That's okay.
Go get a bite. Go get a bite and come back.
No, Smitty's been right most of the time anyway.
All right, Frankie, I appreciate it.
Smitty helps.
Here, Frankie.
Smitty helps.
Frankie, hold on one second. Just
Except when it comes.
grab a pretzel real quick.
Swift.
Hang tight on the phone line. Come back 1 second. Bagel Boy says, I think you are delusional saying Bijan can be running back one. Also, I would take Tyreek, Cup, and Diggs over Bijan. What a clown. Take Smitty. Smarten up. Bagel Boy gets his first lap. Bagel Boy, welcome to the lap club. And also, Bagel Boy, I am removing the Bijan card from your Kung Fu Grip. Your Bijan card has also been revoked because you just out in the open told everybody you don't like Bijan Robinson based on that.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Okay, let's see here. Denny's on the line. Denny, my guy Denny, what's up, my boy? Are you getting Are you getting excited about Friday, Saturday up in Vegas?
I've been excited. Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm ready to rip.
Yeah. Are you gonna zip it?
I'm gonna zip that football right at you.
Yeah. Just don't hit that laptop.
You know what I'm gonna do, Smitty?
Yeah.
We're gonna do a segment.
Yeah. You're gonna.
You know, everybody listens is all about ADP and all that fantasy football stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm there for life advice.
Denny Dots.
I'm there for every question that everyone wants to know about life, relationships, gambling, everything. That's what I'm there for. If they want to talk about, I think Mike Thomas is better than Olave. Can you tell me why? No, we're doing life advice. I'm gonna be right poolside with Smitty, and you know what? Who are you gonna listen to? You're going to listen to Danny. And I'm there. I'm going to be there. Oh, and I already heard that you got a helicopter picking me up down there, Smitty. Man, I appreciate that.
Hey, Denny, let's play your intro.
He's Denny. He's Denny.
Oh.
Hey, Frankie, you okay now? Did you get a moment to breathe?
Frankie, does Frankie need a hug?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm not listening to this show.
Okay. Hey, Dragon.
I'm good, Smitty.
Yeah.
Someone just wow. Hey, nobody talks to Smitty like that.
Yeah, what up,
hey,
Danny?
Dragon's in the house.
Dragon don't put up with no BS, bro.
Dragon don't play that, all right, Frankie?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, dog?
You don't play that.
You ADPing? No, I'm gonna be there, right?
Yo, where you at, Danny? Fucking Brockton Blockbuster?
This kid is definitely from Boston. Not like that kid Matt that said he was. No, this kid definitely a Boston guy, bro. I don't want to fight you, bro. Nah, I hate that.
Hey,
No, you're all right.
Hey, Denny, I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and I want some rapid response from you. Okay.
All right, it better be life questions.
No, they're gonna be football questions. Alvin Kamara. Where would you draft him though? Nowhere.
Never.
Okay.
Nope.
Did you hear the news today?
No, I had a feeling there was something happening.
Yeah.
What? He got arrested or something?
No felony charges are being filed. He pleaded no contest to a small misdemeanor, a misdemeanor that you probably get just walking down the street. You know, just being overly excited. He got a breach of peace misdemeanor. For beating this guy into the ground. He got a breach of peace misdemeanor. And so the NFL is most likely going to give him a 1, 2, or 3 game suspension. So it's going to be like between a 1 and a 4. So the question is, Denny.
All I'm thinking is, Smitty, I'm sorry, but all I'm thinking is that helps Olave.
Hey, that's what hey, Olave to the moon. You know who I like? Kendre Miller right now. Kendre Miller, Kendre Miller, the rookie running back, all of a sudden to me is the guy to go get. Now that Alvin Kamara is going to be climbing up people's boards, is Kendre Miller.
Got to catch up with rookies now. Kendre Miller.
Kendre Miller, rookie running back. Denny, learn about it. Ooh. All right, hey, let's go back to Scuba. Hold on, let's go back over to Scuba real quick. Scuba, what other question do you have?
Scuba Steve. Is that Scuba Steve?
That's Scuba.
All right.
Go ahead, Scuba.
All right, Scuba.
Yeah. Hey. So, Smitty, wanted to ask you. Actually, you know what? Since we're on the topic earlier with
hold on, real quickly. Hold on, real quickly.
I kind of agree with you.
Hold on, real quickly. Hold on 1 second. Bagel Boy says, "Why not Jamal Williams?" You know, you lost your ability to ask questions. Go get me a coffee, Bagel.
Get a coffee.
Go get it. Go ahead, Scuba. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to add into the topic earlier between Swift and Miles Sanders. I kind of agree with Smitty with the DeAndre Swift, just because Miles Sanders is definitely a good back, but I feel like the upgrade just from Swift going into the Eagles offense compared to the Lions offense that he was in last year, I think that it definitely benefited him for being in the red zone a lot more. Whereas Miles Sanders, he's still like kind of in like that rebuilding mode, and I know he might get like the PPR work and everything, but I feel like the touchdown regression, if anything, would go down.
Yeah, I mean, look, Frankie, Scuba's got a point in that, like, you're talking about how great Miles Sanders is, and he could be. And again, like Ron said, I don't know if you listened to what I said. I was like, yeah, I don't hate your take. I just disagree with it, but I don't hate the take, and it could definitely work out. But where Miles Sanders just did all the damage you're talking about, that's where Swift's going. So you could make the argument that Swift is replacing the guy that was so productive that you love, and you gotta.
Yeah, but he's got to split it. He's got to split with Miles Sanders had with Rashad Penny.
But Penny can never stay healthy.
Take that take and put it in your pipe.
No. Then also, Frankie.
I love this guy.
Yeah. Then also, Frankie, you got to also consider. Hold on 1 second, Denny. Hold on 1 second. You got to consider the cost of entry of these players, like in the case of Pacheco, like Ron said. I mean, you're talking about 82 overall versus probably 60. So you're talking about 20 player difference in running backs, or I'm saying overall.
Dude, I thought it was 62.
20 overall.
How do you go to 50?
How'd I go to what?
Who are you saying is going at 50?
No, Miles Sanders has a 63.2 ADP, and Pacheco has an 82.
In your grandma league.
No, that's in the underdog ADP with thousands of drafters, Frankie. That's thousands of drafters, not grandma.
In my Mastiff league, I got him at pick 72.
Okay, but what I'm trying to express,
I like that value.
What I'm trying to express to you is when I'm sitting there at 60 overall.
Better than I like Pacheco around early.
Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie.
Shut your
What's up,
mouth and listen to Smitty. Hey, what's up, Frankie? Just let Smitty say his piece, for Christ's sake. You sound like give him Boston a bad name. Even that Met kid, Matt, that said he was from Boston, he's from
I ain't
New
from
Hampshire.
Boston. I'm from Jersey, dude. New Jersey.
Oh, the outfit of the earth. Jersey. Oh, my God. You are horrible.
Smitty, you've officially lost control. You have lost control.
Where Kenny Pickett's from, dude. Kenny Pickett's town. Kenny Pickett.
Do a bold prediction on your boy Miles Sanders.
Jersey. Dirty Jersey.
Yeah. You got little hair.
Dirty Jersey. You heard me?
You got little hair, too. Nah, I like Pickett.
Yup Town, Boston. Yuppies.
Don't freaking
bunch of yuppies.
Frankie, thinking. No, Smitty, I'm sorry. Let me deal with it.
Ben Affleck.
Shut the hell up, Frankie. You're making me mad. You're not Tony Soprano, right? You
want me to throw some fobs? Throw some fobs over the phone?
What's your Smitty? What's your favorite song?
I can't even hear what some of you were saying.
Miles Sanders is going to have 1,300 yards this year.
Frankie, did you find the Gray's Book Sports Almanac?
$1,300.
Did you find the Gray's Book Sports Almanac? How do we know this is happening?
He watched.
How do we know that Swift ain't going to break his leg?
Who said he was a guarantee not to?
Same thing.
Who said he was a guarantee not to? Frankie, you keep throwing out RBs that I'm lukewarm on. Like I like Swift at his.
I'm just throwing guys out there you're high on, but you're not high on Miles Sanders.
So.
No, neither am I, Frankie. Does your last name
you're bringing guys out of the woodwork.
Does your last name
No, Frankie, whatever I tell you as ADP, you say it's not accurate ADP because it has to be grandmas. I didn't know that many underdog drafters were grandmas.
For you.
You what?
Not a good look.
What's not a good look?
Having Denny fight your take.
Oh, he's not fighting my takes.
Get somebody that speaks English.
Oh, Denny's a national treasure, Frankie. Frankie, you're a little out of.
Sanders, 1,300 yards.
Frankie, you're a little out of pocket today. Frankie, you're a little out of pocket tonight.
We'll make it interesting.
Frankie, you're a little out of pocket tonight. You apologize to Denny. You apologize to Denny right now.
I'm sorry.
He's a national treasure on the show.
It takes a real man to apologize. Man, hey, thanks, man. It takes a real man to apologize. You were definitely out of pocket. But it's all right. We can talk Miles Sanders.
I can apologize if I'm out of pocket. I like Miles Sanders, though.
I mean,
you were born out of pocket, Denny.
You're allowed to like Miles Sanders, Frankie, but you know what else people are allowed to do? Not have to like Miles Sanders.
No, they have to like him.
No, they don't, Frankie. They don't. And that's what the ADP tells us.
This is my channel. If you guys don't like Miles Sanders, that's not cool with me.
Okay. Watch. Let's test out.
I'm just messing with you, Smitty. I'm just teasing with you. Relax.
Call terminated.
Let's test out whose channel it is. Oh, oops, he's gone.
First of all, this is Smitty's channel.
I mean, you're gonna put yourself in that situation.
I don't know what the hell. Listen, you're not giving a good name to Jerry.
What, Ron?
That 1-800 Jarhead.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron, just put Ron on the phone.
Ron,
can you just talk about Miles Sanders with this guy? I mean, I love the guy. He's he's out of pocket. So.
Denny, I already did. I like Miles Sanders, and I.
Oh, you know what?
Like
you can go. You can go crap when you're happy.
All right.
I don't. All right. He likes Miles Sanders. Don't yell at me because you like Miles Sanders. Don't yell at Smitty because you like Miles Sanders.
I'll yell at you if I want to.
Frankie, you're back briefly. We'll see if it stays. We'll see if you stay on the line, but Frankie's back.
Briefly, don't hang up on me, Smitty. You let some jokers
finish him.
I've never heard you animated before. What's going on tonight?
He's gonna tell me what to do. He says, "Don't hang up on me, Smitty." There you go, Frankie. Frankie, don't come in and try and control my show, Frankie. Okay? I'm gonna put you in your place at that. You can tell me you like Miles Sanders all you want. You can say, Smitty, you're gonna be wrong on Miles Sanders. But when you come in and say you don't hang up on me, Smitty, you're gonna get hung up on immediately. Immediately, Frankie. Immediately. Okay, so why don't we try, Frankie? Why don't we try this one more time?
I remember my first beer, Frankie. I remember my first beer. Just ride it out. You know what I mean? Put your hand on the.
All right,
pillow,
let's give Frankie. This is one more. This is one more time, Frankie. We're gonna call him 3 strikes, Frankie. Frankie, let's try. Let's try.
3 strikes. What'd I say?
Let's try it one more time. You said
What did I say? That
you
was
said
wrong.
you said you don't hang up on me, Smitty, and I said actually I can do whatever I want.
Smitty, you let guys ramble like.
And I'm letting you ramble.
I watch every episode, Smitty.
I'm letting you ramble. I'm letting you ramble.
Here go nuts.
We're
And
letting
you're
you
gonna hang
ramble.
Up on me for some nothing.
No, you're back on the show, Frankie. Are you not back
Dude,
on the
I
show?
didn't threaten nobody. I didn't curse. I didn't.
I think
What's the problem, dude? I support your show.
Frankie, you're back on the
You're
show.
gonna hang up on me because you feel like it.
I don't think you're hearing any. I don't think you're hearing anybody
You're out
tonight.
of pocket.
I don't think you're hearing anybody today, Frankie. I really don't think you're hearing everybody. You've been.
No, I don't want to. Listen. I want to diffuse this. I don't want to make it worse.
But Frankie,
I apologize for yelling.
Okay, this is the second time you've dialed it back down, but then you get heated again. Like you gotta be able to accept that somebody doesn't share your opinion. Okay, that's
All
first
right.
and foremost. You like Miles Sanders. I don't dislike Miles Sanders. You're painting a narrative as if I hate Miles Sanders. I like Pacheco more. That's okay, Frankie. That's okay. It doesn't make you and I enemies, but you kind of came in hot, and you're saying that it's not a good look that I this and that. Bro, you can think whatever you want about Miles Sanders, and I can think whatever I want about DeAndre Swift. Even though I didn't compare DeAndre Swift to Miles Sanders, you just happen to slap down a name that I like that you don't like and say, oh, well, you like Swift. The ADPs aren't close, Frankie, so we got to talk like logical about it. It's okay. We know you like Miles Sanders, and it's okay to like Miles Sanders. I don't hate him. I don't hate him. But
I do.
There's just a lot of things that, when you say this is my show, and look, you're kidding, but I hung up on you, also kidding. But then you call in and you call back and you say, hey, Smitty, don't hang up on me. You don't hang up. So I hung up on you. Not a big deal. I let you right back on the show. Frankie, it's all good. Let's move on. That was Denny that said he hated Miles Sanders. And let's give Denny the floor for a second, Frankie. And let's hear why he hates Miles Sanders. Just don't get all upset, Frankie. Go ahead, Denny.
Right.
Why do you hate Miles
Frankie,
Sanders?
Are you gonna be okay? Frankie, buckle up, all right?
Oh, boy.
He ain't gonna do anything for you, all right? You can put all you want into Miles Sanders. And Ron Navy, you can do the same thing. All I'm saying is, he ain't my guy. You were just getting out of pocket, Smitty and everything.
Smitty, is this his take?
Yes, it is his take in the entire. Look, hey,
This guy's serious.
Frankie, just real quickly listen to me before you say anything, please. This is a national
All right.
treasure. Denny's a national treasure. So before you go off on him, just realize the whole chat's going to be against you. The entire chat. This is a national treasure, and he's going to have his
I
take.
got some boys in the chat.
All right.
Not as many, maybe not as many as him, but I got a couple.
It's all good, Frankie. We're all friends here. You know,
You're gonna squad up now. This is my family right here. This isn't the community. This is my family. Yeah, I love the argument. I'm just saying, have a little respect to Smitty. That's all I'm trying to say. You know.
Then he doesn't like it.
Definitely on the phone. You know, you want to keep yelling at Smitty. Hey, Miles Sanders, fine. You know, good. Just don't expect Smitty to tell you that Miles Sanders is a beat.
Smitty knows, dude. You don't need to tell me that. Smitty knows I wouldn't disrespect him, and if I did, I'm sure he'd handle it.
Well, which we did.
That's good.
Which we did,
you think
Frankie. I think some of that did go on, but that's fine. I look. I'm not.
I love you too, Denny.
All I'm saying is Sanders has never had over 900 yards, but the last season that he had on the ground. So like, there's reason.
I'm not going to bet my house on.
There's reason to be optimistic about him, Frankie.
I took it a little personal, but
I know you
Ron
did.
smoothed me out.
Well, he did, and then you slid off the rail again. Then you slid off the rail a little bit again, but that's okay. Then
because Denny got me going, but you know.
All right. Hey, everybody, give Frankie a bro fist or a thumbs up in the chat. Let's make him feel loved for a second.
I'll give you a thumbs up. No, definitely. Dude, I love opinions. Hey, Ron Navy loves.
Overcome just dropped a $5 holler and said for Denny.
You say poor Denny, but where do you see me? Smitty got me all set up at Circus Sports over there in a couple of days. Yeah. And, we're not going to...
Smitty, who do you like, Kamara or Miles Sanders?
Neither.
Like, here's the deal, bro. The ADPs are not close. If, let's say, Kamara climbed up to Miles Sanders' ADP, I think both those guys I'm avoiding, and I'd rather go with another player.
We both know he's gonna, right?
Well, we think he's going to, yeah. But I'm going after another player. I don't necessarily need to go after either one of those players. It's a trick question to me. Like I said, I understand your optimism on Miles Sanders, which I don't think you heard because all you heard was me hating on him, and I didn't. But he's only had one season.
He's never had more than 900 yards.
He hasn't. That's what I just said. Beforehand, I didn't say anything of the sort. He's only had 900 yards. Hasn't even had 900 yards before on the ground until last year. So
I didn't know
there's a reason to be like, hey, do I love him? No. Could he deliver? Absolutely. But you know who I take over Miles Sanders? Let's take a look at the ADP. And this is not grandma ADP. This is underdog fantasy where thousands of people are drafting over and over. You'll never get more accurate ADP, Frankie, than underdog ADP. These are people paying good money.
Somebody said I'm a Denny copycat. Come on, dude. That's just straight up disrespectful.
Hey, copying Denny's an amazing thing. Okay. So
yeah, Frankie, whatever. Cool.
Let me ask you, Frankie. Would you rather have Trevor? You don't have a quarterback yet. You taking Trevor Lawrence or Miles Sanders?
Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, because he's going after him. So that's about 3 or 4 picks after ADP wise. J.K. Dobbins.
I'm a Fields owner though.
J.K. Dobbins.
I've been drafting Fields.
J.K. Dobbins and Miles Sanders are about 5 ADP picks apart. J.K.'s going a little higher. But if J.K.'s there, are you taking J.K. or are you taking Miles Sanders? Those are very comparable players to me. I think that you're not crazy to like one over the other. I'd probably lean J.K., but I could understand you going Miles. But the ADP indicates most people take J.K.
Frankie's law.
J.K. is interesting. I had him his rookie year, and when he helped me out in the playoffs there.
I mean,
he got hurt.
But then he hasn't done shit.
It really comes down to how your draft is forming out from rounds 1 through 4 on whether you're going to take Sanders or you're going to take a different player. Because Hawkinson in the 5th, you have Madison in the 5th. You have a lot of other players in the 5th. So if you went running back early, and you probably want to take one like a receiver in the 5th.
Not to piss off Frankie.
Going.
Not to piss off Frankie, but Frankie, guess how many shares of Sanders I have in all of my underdog drafts?
2.
0.
0?
Yep, 0. Doesn't mean I don't see the value, but I haven't run across a reason to draft him. Is my point.
I
know.
Big board, the big board, the pre-draft. I have a lot more Sanders than that.
But it makes sense not to hype a guy you don't own.
No, that's not my style, bro. You think I'm not drafting Bijan? Come on, bro. You say you know.
No, but I'm saying if you don't own a player, you're not going to hype him up.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, but doesn't that also make sense? That if I'm never drafting him in the hundreds of best ball,
it's logical.
Yeah, it's not like I'm playing in 3. There was a time where that could make some sense. What you're saying, like if you played before best ball, you played in 3 leagues,
and then he turned 8.
And they turned 8. I think Frankie and I think Frankie and Denny could.
Trying to get Smitty to hype up Cousins.
Then he turned 8.
I think
I love Cousins.
I would love to see. You know what's crazy is I think Denny and Frankie would have been really good friends on another call. I think Frankie started off hot, and it just put Denny in a bad place. But Denny usually, like Scuba, he loves Scuba because Scuba didn't come in hot.
Love Scuba too.
But Scuba came in hot on Smitty. I think Denny would have ripped into Scuba pretty hardcore. I think it's just a bad timing. This whole thing's bad timing.
It's family. Are we going to be family? We can resolve family issues. This isn't a community. We're family.
I mean, it's like spilled milk.
We can resolve these issues. Just don't come out at Smitty. Smitty's a gentleman. You know what I mean? He put me up.
No, he's a good guy.
I don't know about that.
He got me sleep there. What?
Smitty deals with a lot of people's shit, dude. I hear these takes going on. Like, I can't believe, like, the guy the other day, he's like, Fields is like a bust, he said. I couldn't even...
I don't think Fields a bust. Do you, Frankie? Do you think Fields a bust?
No, I own Fields in a lot of ways.
Right. We agree. We agree.
Yeah, Fields of dreams, baby. Hey boys, I gotta
quarterback one though, Denny.
I gotta wrap it.
Your guy.
I gotta wrap it up here. Let's end it with let's start off with Frankie. Frankie, the floor is yours. You can talk up Miles Sanders.
Come on, me first, do me last.
No one's gonna tear you down or anything. You can say whatever you want about Miles Sanders right now. Go ahead. The floor is yours. You can speak about somebody else. Give me your final thoughts of the show, and end it on a good note here. You can talk about anything you want.
I want to talk about Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown? Okay.
Because I like him more than anybody in the league this year.
I like this.
And
I like this a lot.
Yeah.
And the year before that.
You like my Amon-Ra video? Have you seen?
Oh yeah, Smitty. I love your Amon-Ra videos.
Okay. Because I have that video where he could be the number 2 touchdown getter in the NFL in 2023, and I think you enjoy that if you hadn't seen the whole thing. But it's got Amon-Ra, it says 10 TDs in the graphic. You might be thinking of a different video, or you might have watched that. I don't know, but make sure you watch that one. How many touchdowns is Amon-Ra getting, Frankie, before you bail? Before you jump off here?
I like him to have a Randy Moss year, dude. 18, 19.
Woo.
Ooh. Sounds like a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
And I'm putting money on it too.
I mean, he's gonna have a big day. There's a reason I made that video.
Smitty, I'm trying to do a parlay. Week 1, Detroit with the points and Amon-Ra 2 touchdowns. And I'm putting 1,200 on it.
Attaboy. Wow. Wow, Frankie.
Frankie.
I'm not kidding, dude. That's how I feel about Amon-Ra, dude.
I mean, he started off hot last year. He started off with that kind of production last year. Woo. Hey, look, we'll be rooting for you, Frankie.
That's how he came out the gate.
I know.
Smitty,
that's what I just said.
I was so, dude, when you tore that kid down, when he was like, and no disrespect, Ron, I know you ain't that high on Amon-Ra, but Smitty killed that kid, dude.
I don't think Ron's down on him.
I like Amon. I drafted.
Yeah, but I remember you saying A.J. Brown was better, and you said he ain't gonna beat Christian Watson, and I ain't gonna forget that one. I'm keeping that receipt. He's gonna do circles around Watson.
He's a wide
circles
receiver
around
in
him.
Washington.
Goff is going to be indoors all year, dude. All year long.
Frankie's
You
coming for blood.
should be indoors with a padded room. You should be indoors all year.
I drafted Garrett Wilson and Amon Round in a Poodle 3 earlier today.
Frankie, you do take.
Yeah, I
this.
know you're coming. You're starting to come over, Ron. I know.
Frankie gets really upset.
Come over.
Hey, Frankie, we got.
No, I love this, Smitty. I love this show, Smitty. I watched this show in December. My brother's like, dude, you're nuts.
Hey, Frankie,
I'm
I appreciate
I'm
you.
like, shut the fuck up.
Look, Frankie, I got thick skin. I don't know what makes you think I'm not okay with this. It's fine. I got to put you in your place when you're going a little crazy, but doesn't mean I don't want you to call back. Doesn't mean I don't want you here. I just ask Denny. I've hung up on Denny 100,000 times, and Denny just comes back like a lovable dog, just back to the show. This guy just is an absolute loyal. He's as loyal as a golden retriever. This man, Denny. Denny, I'm
not going nowhere, Smitty. I plan to support the show a lot more too.
Okay.
I want you to know that.
Thank you, Frankie.
Hey, send in a sawbuck for a super chat.
Hey, don't ever
Let me
tell
know
me
how
what to do.
Send in some cash, Frankie. Come on, Frankie. Send in a $20.
Hey, Frankie.
Don't ever tell me what to do, Denny.
Go get Denny a coffee.
Oh, you're right. You know what? Frankie, I was out of pocket there. You're right. You know what? I was out of line.
Go get him a coffee.
I shouldn't have told you what to do. No, I apologize. All right.
Hey, Frankie.
All right, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie. Why don't you drop a $50 hauler on the board up here, and you could co-host a show with me if you win it. If you win the prediction, if you're so confident in Miles Sanders, drop a $50 prediction. It goes on the board, and the chat votes on who had the best prediction. And if you win,
Smitty, I tell you what. When I get my fucking tax return next week, you got it.
Okay.
You got it.
All right, to the moon.
Oh,
All right.
my God, Frankie.
Frankie.
You stupid bastard.
Hey, let's be nice, Denny. Frankie, appreciate.
Come on, dude. You got to make it interesting. I ain't taking it.
Hey,
as soon as I get my dude,
I got thick skin. Don't worry about it.
Frankie.
These guys don't.
No, Smitty, for real. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that big board.
Hey, Frankie.
I just ain't gonna throw you my card right now.
Yeah, that's all right, Frankie. Hey, Frankie. We'll see you later, pal.
I already told you I got 1,200 in Oman Ra.
Yeah.
Right now, as we stand.
All right. Hey, Frankie. Call in tonight. Okay. We'll see you later tonight.
All right. Later on.
We're going to draft tonight on that grandma platform.
Later,
later. I love how Frankie calls. It's hard to get a word in with him. He's like the inverse of Scott, like Scared Scott. Like you can only take so much. It was good to have it, but you really can only take so much. It's the inverse of Scott. Scuba Steve.
I've never heard him before.
What?
I really haven't seen him be that animated before.
Yeah, he might be sipping on a little grandpa's cough medicine tonight because he did seem a little out.
He got called out, Ron. He got called out. He didn't like that. Guys like Frankie don't like getting called out on their crap. You know.
You don't tell me.
He likes this player, and I mean, hey, me and Smitty have gone at it a few times. I mean, we have different takes on different players.
Ron, but it wasn't like that. I mean, come on. He hit a different level on it. No, he backed off, then he went back, and then he went down.
Denny's got this figured out, to be honest. He's got a pretty good assessment of it.
We need this every once in a while, Denny. We need a little bit of
I don't mind.
Like
it doesn't bother me.
Chaos.
Yeah,
chaos,
Denny.
A little chaos is fun.
Denny's fine with it too. He's not. All right, Scuba, you got 10 seconds, Scuba, go.
Hey, Smitty, I wanted to get your thoughts on DK Metcalf because Geno Smith, he broke out. Do you think that offense is going to continue to do what it's doing? Or do you think that what everybody was predicting last year, that DK Metcalf's numbers were going to go down? Do you think that this is the year that could actually happen?
I think JSN doesn't help the situation, bro. I'm not saying that DK can't have a 10 TD, 1,100 yard year or something like that, or 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns, or even something better. But I do feel like if you're going to bank on him as your wide receiver 1, you're playing a little bit with fire. He should be somebody that like falls into your lap in a different round than you expect or something like that. But can I make him as like my 3rd drafted player? I find it tough to do that. Doesn't mean it won't happen. Doesn't mean he can't be good. Doesn't mean he can't surprise everybody. Doesn't mean Lockett stays healthy. And if Lockett gets hurt or something, or JSN gets hurt, he's a rookie. Rookies get hurt all the time. Maybe everything goes a certain way. But DK is always a beast. He's always a threat for double-digit touchdowns. I definitely love DK, but I don't know that I love his value. Like he's a tough guy to draft. I don't know that I own him I don't know if I own him one time. It's not that I hate him. I don't think I've drafted him once because I'm looking at the board here. I'm drafting Calvin Ridley over him, which I could understand the concern there too. That's very debatable. Debo, I don't love drafting Niners. I'll be honest. I don't draft any CMC lately. For some reason, I draft Debo more than I probably should. I think he's very undervalued. I think Debo's got potential to be a 2nd-round player, and he's going sometimes in round 4. And so I see the value in that. But I find myself like questioning when I take him. Like, damn it, did I draft Debo again? I got maybe 15% ownership of Debo exposure. Christian Watson.
Because they're always injured.
Christian Watson, I like better quietly than DK, but similar to what I tried to explain to Frankie, but he just wasn't listening, that I'd rather draft Christian Watson over DK, but because their ADPs are so far apart, that allows me to go Gibbs. Where somebody's taking DK, I go Gibbs, or I go Burrow instead of taking DK, and then I come back and get Christian Watson. So stuff like that.
So what you're saying is that he's going in the 3rd round? Is that like where it is right now on like your best ball? Is that like, he's like 2nd, 3rd round?
Bro, 28 overall. You're talking about 24 is the last pick in round 2. You're talking about right before the middle of round 3. That's high. I can't take DK Metcalf there. I like him, but I can't take him at 28. I just can't. I can't take him. It's too early.
Definitely. Like I said, that was just a player I wanted to ask because I'm curious as to because I haven't been really doing the best ball, so I might have to sign up promo code Smitty and try to get in there. But
do it.
I wanted to just to see like where he was at because he was definitely a player that depend on like I guess like his value if I'm interested in the guy. Or not.
Promo code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy. Link is in the description of this video and every video I have. It's also pinned in the live chat right now. If you want to draft with us live in a real league tonight, hit that code, hit that link in the live chat. It's pinned, and sign up now. $10 minimum. They'll double it if you're new. They'll double it up to $100. So make that deposit wisely, the first one, because they double it. And you're ready to go. So when we get in there tonight, you're not going to have to like sign up, scramble, not get in and go, I missed the chats. I missed it, Smitty. I didn't get in because I had to sign up. Just click it. It takes 2 minutes to sign up, 1 minute, and then you're good to go. Scuba, we'll see you tonight.
This thing opened up yesterday.
Can I just add, just say one more? So when you do sign up, and when you do the draft, do you say like how much it is, like when you put the link up, like how much it is, like to join in?
Yeah,
like,
tonight.
Like,
so just
like
to give you an example, tonight we're gonna go for sure. Not even probably for sure. We're going into the Poodle 3, which is $7 an entry. And so we'll click on it and I'll say, okay, right now, click the green button, go. And then we'll all try and get in. And if you miss it, don't worry about it because you're going to be in a draft like side by side, even though you won't be in our draft. And you might be if you get it in time. But even if you're drafting like a split second behind, you get to watch what's unfolding and hear the commentary and apply it to your draft. So it's very, very useful. But the prizes are first place is $60K, second place is $30K. And third place is $15K, and the current entrance, it looks like there's 31,000 people in it. So Frankie, appreciate Frankie says best show on turf. I don't know if he's talking about this show, but appreciate you, Frankie, either way. But unlike what Frankie thinks, this ADP is accurate. You got 31,000 entrants for this particular draft alone. The ADP is very, very telling. It's very telling. The ADP is very telling. because people are paying $7 a draft. They're finishing the draft out. So this ADP, there's no ADP that matches it because everyone's drafting to the very end, versus a mock draft. People quit after round 4 or 5, and then the ADP data is jacked up. All right, Scuba, we'll see you tonight.
All right, man. See you.
Denny, final thoughts.
Scuba Steve, what a positive guy. You know what I mean?
He is.
There's nothing but good energy coming out of him. His ass is just so respectful, He is. He's a positive guy, just trying to learn. Love Scuba Steve. That's going to go a long way in your life.
Yeah, Scuba.
Other guys, you can't come in with some holy crap. They just want everyone to jump on your thing and then get mad at everyone because they don't want to be there. But anyway, that's
Scuba.
I'll be over there in 2 days.
Scuba's the kind of guy I could have yelled. I could have yelled at Scuba and told him to get out of here, and he would have said, "Oh, okay, thank you." Like, he's such a nice guy. He would have apologized. Like, this guy's he's a gem. He's a gem like you. I love Scuba.
Thanks, Smitty. But I find Scuba Steve like the perfect guy. Just all right. Yeah. One more question, real quick.
Would you adopt him? Would you adopt him?
He's all it is. He loves the show. Scuba Steve's the man. Ron Navy's the man. I mean, it's your family. At the end of the day.
Hey, if Scuba came to you tomorrow and said, "Look, I'm in a little bit of a dilemma, and I got 2 years left of being a kid. Will you adopt me?" Would you adopt him?
Dude, I thought you were gonna say when I lent him $20. We're going to adopt him here.
Would I lend him $20? You wouldn't even give it to him. You wouldn't even give it to him. You lend it to him.
I say, first of all, don't ever ask anyone to adopt you. You're way too old for that shit. But that would kind of. I'd be like, sweet. Calm down. Everything's gonna be all right.
Would you let me adopt? Would you let me adopt you, Denny? Would you let me adopt you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Dude, you got an extra room? Like, I don't know. You have to call me Dragon. I have to call you Nighthawk.
I'll put it. Hey, we'll change when I adopt you. When I adopt you, we'll change your name to Dragon Smitty. Okay, it'll be the best day of your life. Dragon Smith.
Oh,
all
man,
right.
I hope I didn't get into a peak too much.
Hey, Dragon, I got to go. It's 7:25 my time.
Hot right in your studio, Smitty.
Yeah. He's asleep right over in the corner. All right, it's a 3-hour live stream. I got to go, guys.
Smitty. Just ask Ron Navy to ask me those 2 words one more time. Ron Navy. What are those words?
Juju.
Juju Schuster Smith.
All of them. Say it again.
There you go.
Juju.
Oh.
All of them.
Oh God! All right, hey, appreciate you, Denny. I gotta run. Appreciate you. We'll see you later tonight.
Good night, guys.
Hey, Steve B. I'm so sorry. You still here, Smitty? When you get a minute, can you look at my super chat? Oh, I just saw your message. Okay, perfect. He's still here. Steve B. I'm so sorry about the delay. I'm sending you to the moon because I made you wait. The moon. Steve B. Appreciate you. Steve B. says 1.1 PPR redraft. Chase, JJ, or Bijan. Big money league. So I'll tell you what I tell everybody, and I'll tell you what my video talks about. If you go back and watch the Bijan video, Bijan's running back 1, plain and simple, that video. Please go watch the beginning of that to get a real good sense of how I view Bijan. But if it's a 3 wide receiver format, PPR, or even half PPR, 3 wide receiver, I'm going Chase. That's just my opinion. You can't go wrong with Chase or JJ. If it's half PPR or PPR and a 3 wide receiver requirement, you can't go wrong with either one. I go Chase because I envision a 15 to 18 to even 19, 20 touchdown season out of Chase. I don't know if he has the 20 touchdown season this year, but I predict he is the one player in the NFL, the next wide receiver to have a 20-plus touchdown season as a wide receiver. I predict it to be Jamar Chase. I think he just has a monster year. But if it's half PPR and it's, let's say, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex, meaning you could start more RBs than you start wide receivers, then Bijan is very appealing at the 1.1. But it'd have to be that scenario for me to kick the wide receivers down. But honestly, any way you go, you're not going wrong here. I think Bijan's going to have that 1,400 yard rushing season. 1,400, let's call it, just to be safe. 1,400 plus, 14 touchdowns, 50 plus receptions, 350 to 450 receiving yards. Like, this is going to be a big year. And those are like my minimums. I think he could far exceed that. I think he could have a 2,000 yard total season. It's very, very possible, and a 15 plus touchdowns season total. So that's just how I feel, Bijan. I know a lot of people don't like it. That guy Bagel that came in here running his mouth about it. Like, look, it's gonna make some people upset. I don't know why Bagel or anybody is upset about it, but they get upset about it. I think it comes down to if someone missed on him, like if they called him a bust or something, and then now he's looking good, or he's going to land in a bad spot. You watch, he's going to land in a bad spot. I don't have the 1.1, so I'm going to crap on the 1.1 because I'm not going to draft him, and it's my only league. And then he goes to Atlanta, and he's like, crap, Atlanta sucks, Ritter sucks, and they just keep doubling down and doubling down. Like, there's no reason to be mad at somebody like Bagel was and call me a clown, which I don't care. I have thick skin. I could give two craps. He was in here still talking. I didn't block him or anything. He eventually got blocked because he just kept running his mouth. But I don't care if someone disagrees with me. I really don't. But why people get so angry over a take is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Like Bijan, so what? Let people draft him running back one. You love Christian McCaffrey running back one. Great. No one's getting mad at you. Do you. Do what you want. But Steve, I love these three. You can't go wrong. Chase is my guy if it's a 3 wide receiver, PPR or half PPR. Go get him, pal. You got this. Steve, thank you for the super chat. Overcome, thank you for your $4 hauler as well. Ron, final thoughts. Thank you. Let's go, Buffalo.
Yeah, you like Chase, and I feel the same about JJ. And we're on the opposite sides on that one.
But they're both so good.
JJ, 2,400 yards, and he smashes the league again. Maybe MVP season for JJ this
2,400, huh?
But they're both great receivers. You just pick poison, whatever one you like.
Yeah, there's no reason to even argue JJ over Chase with anybody because it's like they're both the top tier. They're both there's no question in anyone's mind that's 1 and 2 or 2 and 1 or 1A and 1A. Like it could be an exact tie. I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all. All right. I feel bad about jumping, guys, but it's been 3 hours. Ron, I'll see you tonight.
You hear that?
What?
They're giving you the 21-gun salute outside and lighting off freaking fireworks past the 4th of July.
All right. Tell them appreciate that. All right, Ron, I'll see you tonight.
All right.
Later.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'll see you all tonight. Appreciate everybody's super chat. Appreciate every single one of you. See you tonight for the draft. It might be a little later tonight because we're stopping. This show's gone so far over. I'll see you all tonight. Don't forget to click that link in the live chat. It's pinned, or the link in the description. And sign up for Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. That link is pinned in the live chat. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Click the link. Let's go. Appreciate you. Let's go, Buffalo. Buffalo says, let's see what he said. Thank you, Smitty, for helping me win multiple titles in my leagues for the last 3 years. You bet, pal. And then also, I appreciate your kind comment here saying if Smitty isn't live, he's being a dad or sleeping. No one goes live more. Best host and show there is. Thank you, Buffalo. Appreciate you and all that you do. Keep those comments coming. Buffalo, I want to see you in the comments more, though, after the video ends in the comment section. I try and get back to every comment. I'm a little behind on the last couple days, but I will get back to as many as I can. Travis says, I know Ron's 2,400 predictions, I think kind of a joke. It was a bold prediction he made once, but then after he made it, I think minutes later, he's like, that was a little too bold. But 2,400 yards, Travis says, if 2,400 yards for JJ, and I'll tattoo the Ron Navy email, or no, emoji, sorry. Let me, I couldn't see it. Tattoo Ron Navy's emoji on my body. That'd be funny if you put his email on your body. Email this. Now anybody that sees the tattoo can email Ron. I saw your tattoo. Blackbeard, so bummed you're not going to Vegas, but appreciate you. Guys, I'll be in Vegas Friday and Saturday, live, 4 shows across the 2 days. Watch, be sure to be ready for the Vegas live streams. And come see me at Circa Las Vegas Casino Stadium Swim on Saturday, all day, starting at 9 a.m. Peace out. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.